Well, we will bring you all the goals as they go in, of course. Updates coming from here at Arsenal as well. Goals from around the EFL. Commentary on Talksport 2 already underway of Leeds against Watford, and Leeds already 2-0 up in that one. That's on Talksport 2. Villa looking to keep up their 100% Champions League record. They should be too strong for Bologna. To Villa Park with your Talksport commentary team of former Villa captain Andy Townsend alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian, and a very good evening to you. Well, there are 5 teams experiencing Champions League football for the very first time this season, and 2 of them meet here at Villa Park, having enjoyed such contrasting starts to their campaigns. Anybody that was here for Villa's win over Bayern Munich will never forget it. The biggest night they've had in Europe here for more than 40 years, culminating in another moment of Jean Duran brilliance and a repeat of the scoreline from the 82 final. In the wake of that, there was potentially a danger that tonight could feel a little bit more mundane. I can confirm from the atmosphere here in the last 15 minutes that certainly isn't the case. The premium on the points is just the same, of course, and after their perfect start, another Villa win would leave them needing around 7 more points in the final 5 games to achieve a top 8 finish and a place in the round of 16. Now, against them, Bologna, whose first impressions of the Champions League are much less favourable. They finished 5th in Serie A last season, only for coach Thiago Motta to leave them for Juventus. They've struggled as a result of that. In the league, they've had more draws than IKEA. In Europe, they're still waiting for both their first win and first goal. They've had just 1 win in 10 games in all competitions, but they will present a different type of test tonight, because if Villa are a side that like teams that come and attack them so they can hit on the counter, those opportunities may be few and far between this evening. Well, this is how they line up. Martinez in goal for the Villa, Konsa, Carlos, Torres and Maatsen, and Nana and Tielemans, McGinn and Bailey wide, Rodgers off Duran up front, the bench, Cash, Mings, Barkley, Buendia, Watkins, Digne, Philogene, Nedeljkovic, Pagada, Ramsey, Kamara and Olsen. Bologna, Skorupsi in goal, Posh, Bakuma, Lukumi and Likajanis, Freuler, then Orsolini, Urbanski, Fabian and Ndoye, and Dalinga leads the line. And we will, of course, keep you up to date with all of the goals as they go in from elsewhere in the Champions League, where Milan have beaten Bruges 3-1 and Monaco have beaten Red Star Belgrade 5-1. All the goals from the EFL as well. But this is the main event. They had a magnificent mural of 3 lions just above, suspended above the whole end. They must have been about 50 feet tall, these synthetic lions. That last 15 minutes has made the hairs go up on the back of your neck again, Andy.
Yes, it has. It's kind of reminiscent of what we witnessed against Bayern, Jim. It will be slightly different when the game kicks off tonight, because again, as you mentioned, everyone expecting Villa to get this done tonight. Against Bayern, it was into the unknown a little bit against a very, very accomplished top team. Tonight's different. Villa have got to make it happen. They've got to get the crowd, pick them up and work them.
And so we're underway. Aston Villa, claret and blue, white shorts, and they're defending the whole end away to our right-hand side. Played 2-1-2, and if Villa hope their night of nights against Bayern was just a starter, how are they going to manage the Bolognese? Here's Martinez bringing the ball out to the edge of his penalty area, and a little bit further than that. And just stops the ball and waits some more for the press, which Fabian will apply, and then Villa quickly work it out towards the right-hand side for Ezri Konsa. And there'll be flash forward down the Villa right-hand side for Duran to chase. It was a slightly awkward bounce. Berkema, the Dutchman, at the heart of the Bologna defence, winning that. Flag up anyway. And it's a free kick that'll be taken by Bologna. Stoke lead Bristol City 2-0. Andy Moran has scored the second. Cheltenham have equalised at home to Bradford through Luke Young. Wickham leading at Burton through Gideon Kodjua. Will, as I say, keep you up to date of all of the goals as they go in. Bologna in possession now away to our left with Skorupsi, the Polish international goalkeeper, laying it to his right for Berkema, the captain. And he'll bring the ball forward. Villa happy to let Bologna have it. There's a long ball over the top, a dangerous one as well. Dan Ndoye will pick it up. He checks, he's only 8 yards from goal. Pulls it back for the edge of the area. Right-footed cross-come shot from Urbanski. Flashes wide of the right-hand post. He cut across it about 20 yards out. and Villa Park held its collective breath.
Yes, it did.
And Urbanski couldn't hit the target.
Certainly did there. Great ball from Berkema, right side is central defender, 40-yard ping in between Ezri Konsa and Diego Carlos, and Ndoye was in. Had he have produced a better first touch, then he gets the chance to have a shot at Emi Martinez. As it was, he miscontrolled it, he rolled it back to the edge of the box, and the shot from there was well wide. But there's a little warning for Villa. No time to sleep at the back.
Duran getting the better of Berkema right in front of us. Takes it down to the corner flag. Tried to buy the corner off Berkema, who read that and cleverly jumped out of the way of a cross from Duran. And he goes straight out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken away to our left-hand side by Skorupski. Peterborough 2 up at home to Blackpool. Joel Randall scored the second. Newport leading at Gillingham 1-0. 0-0 here. Pulsating start, though, through the opening 3 minutes, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, and interesting watching John Duran in the opening moments, Jim, because Ollie Watkins always is so generous with his work rate and his running in those channels and fighting for things. And much of the same is expected of Duran. He's got Morgan Rogers in and around him. But he will have to make sure that he's charging around in those channels and making something out of nothing.
Ball is headed down by Maatsen. It's only his second Villa start tonight. He did play, of course, in the Champions League final last season. Ball brought down by Anana in the midfield for Villa. And then Rogers works it wide out to the Aston Villa right-hand side, where Leon Bailey will take it on and check it back. Oh, Rogers missed his kick from a tight angle. Duran trying to work it back in. Maatsen then will chase after a ball that's gone down towards the corner flag, squirts away, and he's got the decision. It's a corner, which will be taken on the Aston Villa left-hand side. Deadlock broken at QPR. Ian Abraham.
4 gone. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Coventry 1. Hadji Wright has the goal. Ball not cleared by QPR's defence, and from 15 yards out, Hadji Wright slammed it home. QPR 0, Coventry 1.
Fourth of the season for Hadji Wright. Tielemans to take this corner on the Villa left. 4 minutes gone, 0-0. A really quick, bright start from both clubs here. So Tielemans spots it down. Villa with 3 inside the 6-yard box, another 3 making their ways forward. It's a potentially dangerous near post flick on by Pau Torres, but behind him one of the Bologna players was there to be able to head it away, and Villa will do it all again.
Yeah, the corner from Tielemans was a little flat, but Pau Torres importantly got across the front of the first man at the near post. He just didn't make good contact. In the end, it's nodded straight back out for another corner. Tielemans about to whip this one in again with his right foot. It's an in-swinger.
This time Villa line up with 3 by the penalty spot, 4 by the penalty spot. Pau Torres makes a run in towards the near post. Goalkeeper Skorupski got lucky because he waited in the middle of his 6-yard box and punched it clear, but Villa had a player making a run across him who just didn't make any contact.
Very true, Jim. It was a great ball in. The goalkeeper actually got his hands on it, but you're right, stood rooted to the spot and just kept his fingers crossed that nobody got a glance on it in front of him. Lots of players jumping for it, but in the end he just about got it done.
Bright start from the Villains. John McGinn now applying the pressure to the right back Posh, and he has won a throw, the Austrian right back, which will be taken on this near touchline. Well, you can't accuse either team of just feeling their way into this one. It's Aston Villa against Bologna, and it's brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. 5 gone, 0-0.
Yeah, bright start, as you say, from Aston Villa, just on the front foot, applying pressure and just trying to set this Bologna team on the back foot.
Now Bologna have got a chance just to take a collective breath now as they win a free kick midway inside their own half. They're yet to score a Champions League goal. They drew 0-0 with Shakhtar and lost 2-0 at Liverpool. Those are the 2 results they've had in this competition so far. They had 17 attempts in that 0-0 draw with Shakhtar, and they had more than Liverpool in the game at Anfield 3 weeks ago. So perhaps the 2 results they've had so far haven't been entirely indicative of the performances, but just 1 win in 10 games in all competitions this season. They have proved extraordinarily hard to beat over the last year. 7 defeats in 51 Serie A games, which is an outstanding record.
Yeah, it is. I think first goal really important tonight. Bologna, as you say, with all those drawn matches this season, I think if they go behind to this Villa team and they get their tails up, could be a long night for them. However, However, if they're able to score first here,
Dalinga with the effort,
wow.
And it's well saved by Martinez. Diving to his left, the ball came off his body, and he's very grateful that Torres was the quickest to react to be able to hammer it away.
Tell you what, it's good football. Nice switch from right to left, and in the end, it's a lovely run from Dalinga. Hits it quite well from about 10 yards out.
Big appeals from the Bologna bench that they should have had a penalty there. No decision going against Villa. A right-footed effort from the edge of the penalty area from Ndoye, and that's ricocheted through towards Rodgers. Now will go out of play for a throw that will be taken over on the far side, and still the Bologna players are talking about the potential of having a penalty there and asking whether the VAR has had a look at it. It's João Pinheiro from Portugal who's the referee tonight. Thiago Martins, one of the more experienced high-level VARs, who's looking at everything that's going on, but neither of them were remotely interested.
No. Just watching Emi Martinez there, just having a word with Pau Torres. Twice now in the opening minutes of this match, they've made a couple of runs and got in between full-back and centre-half, and have got into some really dangerous positions. Just got to tighten up a little bit, Villa. Watching Unai Emery moments ago, waving his hands, saying, come on, bit more urgency required, guys. Get up to speed a bit quicker.
Look at me. Got the ball away. It's a key battle for Villa tonight. Jean-Luc Amy at the heart of the Bologna defence against Jean Duran, two players that know each other very well. They're Colombian international teammates, and I don't know whether that has potentially had anything to do with the selection tonight, that Duran would know Luc Amy's game. Of course, the flip side of that would also be true. Bromley leading at Doncaster 1-0 in League 2. This one is 0-0, and we've played 8 minutes here on Talksport. As the ball is played across the Villa penalty area from Onana to Torres, and Maatsen didn't make the run that Torres wanted ahead of him, and Torres laid it back for Martinez, and then was just coaching Maatsen through the game exactly where he was expecting him to be in that particular instance. It's played forward now towards McGinn, and McGinn drawing Posh and then beating him, feeding it forward to Duran. Duran from distance, he was hit with real venom and blocked by Berkema. It'll come out for McGinn. McGinn to Maatsen. Maatsen on the left-hand touchline, level with the edge of the Bologna penalty area. Pulls it back now for Yuri Tielemans. Tielemans goes to the edge of the centre circle. Carlos will work it out to the right-hand side for Konsa. And then played by Konsa down towards Leon Bailey. Bailey playing on the right with McGinn on the left, which was a slight diversion from what we were anticipating tonight. Bailey, who played on the right at the weekend, is retaining that particular role today. Pau Torres back inside the centre circle for Diego Carlos. Played forward from him. Berkema has read that very well, just stepping up for the defensive line. They're ahead of Duran, who's fouled him, inadvertently leaving a foot in as he went for the ball. And it's a free kick which will be taken by Bologna. It's 0-0 here with 9.5 gone.
Yeah, and again, when Villa are in possession, nice and bright and urging and pushing each other forward. However, just have to be a little careful. I think Bologna have shown a couple of times in the opening 10 minutes that they can play, particularly when they play a little bit longer and a bit quicker from back to front.
Berkema just clipping it forward. Villa have tried to play an offside, didn't get it right. Oh, they did, because the flag does come up eventually after the shot from Orsolini was saved by Martinez. Everybody had stopped, and you sense that Orsolini was offside, but the assistant referee was a little bit recalcitrant in putting his flag up. He did eventually, and Martinez had made the save anyway. Maatsen's got it back for Carlos, and we're still locked at 0-0, Andy, but hugely entertaining start.
Yeah, good start. Lovely work from McGinn.
And he's clipped it over the top for Maatsen. Berkema didn't know whether to come or not. Playing inside the area, didn't fall for Duran. Might fall for Bailey. He tries to tee up Rodgers. Now Onana from distance. That one's blocked as well. Will spin out of the right-hand side of the penalty area, and Villa will try and come again. Defended well enough by Likajanis. And the Greek international can get it away. Now Diego Carlos, ball in towards the near post. Duran with an awkward attempt to make something out of nothing. Has bought a corner off Luc Amy with what looked effectively like a defensive clearance. It was a shot that went away from goal, hit the back of the legs of the defender, and goes behind the pair of them and out for a corner.
Just think Leon Bailey could have took the strike there. A great run from Maatsen down the left. He tried to find John Duran in the box. It ended up going to Bailey on the far side. Just hit it. Put your head down. Take a chance.
In comes the corner from the Villa right. Very deep this time. and headed away for another one, although the referee is just indicating whilst giving the corner that he's got eyes on what's going on inside the 6-yard box. It was Pau Torres and Berkema who were involved, but the touch came off Stefan Posch, and it goes out of play for a corner. We'll catch up with early events at Arsenal very shortly, but this fourth Villa corner first, which Tielemans is going to take. Spotted the ball down initially illegally. He's then moved it back, so just a portion of the ball is on the corner quadrant. In towards the near post, looking for a flick on. Berkema heads it away to prevent that happening. Comes out towards McGinn. McGinn's giving it away, and Posch then loses out to Konsa. Back heel flick from Konsa. He was surely caught whilst playing that, he was, and it's a free kick which Villa will take. So we'll get a quick update from Arsenal. Alex Crook.
Arsenal 0, Shakhtar 0. One-way traffic so far. Best chance of the game. Trossard with a corner. Came to Calafiori 6 yards out, and he blazed over. Arsenal 0, Shakhtar 0.
Thank you, Crookie. So 0-0 there. And goals recently in the EFL have been few and far between. A breathtaking start here at Villa Park. 0-0. 4 Villa corners inside the opening 13 minutes. Plenty of possession. And a couple of oohs and ahs, whilst Martinez has also had to be pretty lively at the other end on a couple of occasions. Konsa's back on his feet, he's okay. Blackpool have one back at Peterborough through Kyle Joseph. 2-1, Peterborough leading there. This free kick to Villa is 20 yards inside the Bologna half. Bologna keeping a line 2 yards outside the penalty area. Bailey, in a deliberately offside position inside the penalty area, will just walk back now. Tielemans rolls it down the side of the penalty area, clipped in by Rodgers. Everyone went up for it. Blackshirt got it away. McGinn then tries to bring it forward, cleared by Delinga, headed on by Orsolini, out only as far as Maatsen. High ping ball from him, just a little bit too high for Rodgers, and it drifts away and out of play for a goal kick.
Unlucky. Beautiful ball in from Morgan Rodgers. That was actually well defended, but the ball was up in the air, then it dropped between John McGinn, John Duran and Pau Torres. All three of them looking at the ball. Nobody really took control of it. Again, just need a big shout there from someone, particularly I think from John McGinn, who's coming onto that. Scream at your teammates, get out of the way, it's mine. And he could have thundered that with his left foot.
Peterborough 3, Blackpool 1. They've restored the 2-goal advantage within seconds. Kwame Poku's 7th of the season. Mansfield flying high, lead at Wigan in League One, courtesy of Will Evans. Most of the EFL games are nearly half an hour in. The Champions League games 15 minutes in, and it's still 0-0. Now play stops here because of a foul and just an injury to one of the Bologna players. He's going to need a little bit of treatment inside the Aston Villa half. You're listening to Villa against Bologna in the Champions League, live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Here's Andy Townsend.
Yeah, it's Delinga there that just, I think, felt Diego Carlos's forearm in and around his face, hit the floor just to break the game up. Villa have the ball, they go back to Diego Carlos, back to Emi Martinez, and they're on the front foot again.
With Pau Torres coming down towards the left-hand touchline, finding Maatsen. Back from him to Torres again, worked inside the penalty area, the pressure applied by Abanski. Martinez can get it away from the young Polish international, then Anana's defensive header went back inside his own box for a moment. Villa with enough bodies back can deal with that. Diego Carlos get it away. McGinn and Orsolini, the 2 number 7s, get involved. There's a little bit of shirt pulling going on from the pair of them. Play allowed to go on. Villa putting the pressure on. Berkema with a ball back for his goalkeeper. Skorupski clears away from Morgan Rodgers. Berkema clearing up the right-hand side, but the Villa press is sufficient to force the error, and Posch couldn't keep it in, and it's a throw which will be taken by Villa midway inside the Bologna half at 0-0.
Yeah, collective press as well, that's the difference there. Once the ball went back to the goalkeeper, everybody was squeezed right in behind. It wasn't just 1 or 2 players doing it, it was 6 or 7 all squeezing that back 4, and those midfield players tightly marked. It's difficult to get out from that.
The latest in the Championship, Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0, Leeds 2, Watford 0. That's live on Talksport 2. Oxford leading Derby 1-0. Preston 2 up at home to Norwich. Stoke 2 up at home to Bristol City. Coventry lead at QPR 1-0, and Sheffield Wednesday Swansea is 0-0. Not a good night if you're a supporter of an away club in the Championship at the moment, unless you're a Sky Blues fan. The bottom 4 of the Championship all in action against each other tonight. Well, in 2 pairs, you see what I mean. The ball is with Skorupski, and he'll play it to the right-hand side of the penalty area and then get it back again. And Rodgers showed a little bit of sudden interest in trying to close down, but look at me is going to be able to bring the ball clear. Cambridge lead us Stevenage 1-0. First win at the weekend, and they lead again tonight. Now, left-hand side of the penalty area, shot across the face of goal!
Wow.
And Orsolini coming in at the far post, can't turn it in. But flag was up against him anyway. They've had a couple of let-offs, Villa, because when Bologna can get it forward down the sides of the Villa back line, they're making hay nearly every time.
Yeah, and Villa are holding a high line. They're desperately trying to hold a high line without enough pressure on the ball. And that's always a risk. A good run with a well-timed pass through to that particular player will always beat a back 4 that's holding a very high line. And that's happened a couple of times now, and they should have scored there. They really should have made more of that, Bologna. I don't think the line that Villa are holding is particularly good in terms of how straight and how accurate it is. And again, they penetrated that, and in the end, Ian Maatsen does really well at the back post to knock that one behind and actually get the benefit of the doubt with a nudge in his back. He gets the foul, but that's 3 times now that Bologna, with a couple of simple passes, have got him behind Villa, and have got Emi Martinez worried.
And it tends to be a little 1-2 from one of the central midfielders, often Fabian, out to the left-hand side for Ndoye, and it's the return ball that causes the problems, as he'll just make a third man run forward and get between Consa and Diego Carlos, but it just went a little bit too early on that occasion. They've only got to get it right once. 0-0 the score, 18 minutes gone here on Talksport. Newport 2 up at Gillingham. Villa bring it forward. Here's had a foul by Orsolini. Yes, it was a yellow card as well. Maatsen brought down a yard outside the penalty area, and a free kick to Villa in just about position A.
It's a great run, that, from Ian Maatsen. From that left-back position, he's run beyond Orsolini, then inside, right on the edge of the box. Lovely ball from Morgan Rodgers. Orsolini gets caught napping just for a split second. Maatsen gets the other side of him, and the Bologna player has to drag him down, and it's a free kick to Villa about 4-5 yards outside the box. Really good position if someone wants to hit this.
Well, every Bologna player, bar Orsolini, back inside the penalty area. And there are 6 Villa players all standing over this free kick. Pau Torres walks away. McGinn, Bailey, both stay there, and Yuri Tielemans, unsurprisingly, is the man that has spotted the ball down. He looks the favourite. Villa's set-piece coach, the flamboyant Austin McCann, stands on the edge of the technical area, as he always does for these set-pieces. Just getting the message across which one of the repertoire they're to try from here. So Villa have lined up a little fake 2-man wall in front of Bologna's 5. I think the plan is that they are going to try and dive out of the way of Tielemans' shot, and he's going to try and bend it to the right-hand side of the wall as we look at him. McGinn runs over it, Bailey runs over it, Tielemans knocks it down the side, Bailey across the edge of the 6-yard box, and Urbanski is there to clear. Well worked, but the final ball wasn't what they needed. Tielemans plays it back in, headed behind for a corner by Orsolini.
Lucky. Well, they've got a nice repertoire of set plays, Villa. You know, they do. They work at them very hard, and again, that one was quite clever. A couple of dummy runs over the ball, then Yuri Tielemans shaped to have a go and just goes down the side of the wall. And then the ball from Maatsen is well defended in the end for a corner off this left side.
Burton equalised at home to Wickham. Barnsley 1, Charlton 0. In comes the corner to the edge of the 6. Charlton's good save. Flying header at the near post, going towards the bottom right-hand corner. And Skorupski, who will only have seen it late, dived away to his left-hand side and was able to palm it away.
Great header. I think it's John Duran gets that little glancing header on it. Really good work from Skorupski. Nice, fast, flat delivery from Yuri Tielemans. Difficult they are. If someone gets the run on you with those flat deliveries, you can't recover as a defender there. And Duran, I think it was, who got that little nick on it. Really good stop.
And now Amadou Onana is down. He's picked up a bang to the rib cage as he went up for the ball in the midfield. He just got caught by the Swiss international Dan Ndoye, who had such an excellent Euros. It was Duran, that just couldn't quite get the header far enough to the left of Skorupski, and it came to him almost near his face, but it's still a very smart save to be able to beat it away to his left-hand side and keep Bologna's clean sheet intact. Well, as 0-0 goes, 0-0's go, this is a belter.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been lively. It's been bright. Both teams have had very good situations. Again, just looking at John Duran there, Jim, in terms of that header. Such a big, powerful man. He should be good in the air. I like the way he attacks it.
And now he's headed it on here. And just too far ahead of Bailey. Was he pulled back? Referee says no. Bologna are gambling because they lead 2 back. And Villa push either Bailey or Rodgers forward along with Duran. And it's 2 against 2 from a long punt from Martinez.
And again there, that just shows you exactly what I was talking about in terms of Duran and his prowess in the air. Big ball up the middle, 2v2. Duran gets first contact with his head. And Leon Bailey just can't meet the bounce of the ball. If he'd have done it, he was 7 yards out, he'd have probably scored.
Tielemans for Rodgers, and Anna bringing it forward. Great little reverse for Duran. Couldn't get the touch that he wanted, but it squirts down towards the left-hand touchline, and Maatsen can keep it in. First cross block, second one played across the edge of the 6-yard box and cleared just behind Morgan Rodgers. Bologna cleared a halfway. Carlos mops up, and Villa will come again. Back through the midfield for Yuri Tielemans. Tielemans forward for Pau Torres. Ian Maatsen to his left. Torres forward towards Maatsen. Trying to trick his way through. He falls for McGinn. Beaten away by the goalkeeper. And then cleared inside his own penalty area by Liko Giannis. And out of play for a Villa throw.
Yeah, lovely work from Ian Maatsen again down the left side. It's his persistence that ends up giving John McGinn a very presentable chance on his right foot, albeit. Good save from Skorupski. I'd like to see Leon Bailey follow in. When he sees midfielders taking a strike, just have a gamble. Just run towards the goalkeeper. He might palm it back right into your path.
Reading 2 up at Exeter. Big game in the National League. Barnet leading at York 1-0. And Sporting lead at Sturm Graz in the Champions League through Nuno Santos. I think I'm right in saying it's the first Champions League goal of the night of the 8 o'clock kickoffs. 0-0 here somehow. Villa bring it forward again. Duran trying to set it up for Tielemans. Played it just behind him. And Fabian and Urbanski between them could drop back and flick it away from inside their own penalty area to safety.
First bit of genuine pressure though from Villa. Consistent pressure where they're asking questions now, stretching this Bologna back line.
Looks as though McGinn might have been fouled by Posh, who will follow McGinn inside the centre circle from right back. Duran has now gone down injured. Play goes on. Maatsen's got the ball at his feet. Bologna have got a player down injured as well. And so with one on the deck from each side, Posh and Duran, the referee will stop play.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Posh has hit the floor there, Jim. There was a bit of contact between the two, but good time to hit the floor if you're a Bologna player, just to calm everything down. Just to give everybody a little bit of a breather, because that last sort of 7 or 8 minute spell was really good for Villa, and it was a little frantic the way that Bologna were trying to defend and hang on to their runners and their men.
Tielemans from the drop ball, turned around the corner by Rodgers. Duran runs onto it, out it goes to the Villa right for Bailey. Bailey back for Konsa to Onana, protecting the ball. They're trying to get it away from Remo Freuler. Manages that, goes back for Diego Carlos, worked for Duran, knew he was offside, and it's a free kick to Bologna, and that gives us a chance to go back to Arsenal. Alex Crook.
And it's still Arsenal 0, Shakhtar 0. The home side dominating possession without creating too many clear-cut opportunities. Leandro Trossard has had a couple of efforts wide. Declan Rice also dragged one off target from outside the area. It remains Arsenal 0, Shakhtar 0.
Latest in League One, Barnsley leading Charlton 1-0. Birmingham a goal up at home to Bolton. Burton Wickham's 1 each. Reading 2 up at Exeter. Peterborough 3, Blackpool 1. Cambridge leading at Stevenage 1-0. Mansfield leading at Wigan 1-0. And the others are goalless. I'll give you the League 2 latest in a moment with Posh in possession. Duran's fine for Villa. And Posh lays it back for Remo Freuler in League 2. Barrow a goal up. Cheltenham Bradford's 1-1. Colchester leading at Chesterfield 1-0. Newport 2 up at Gillingham. MK Dons 1, Accrington 0. Salford 1, Swindon 0. Walsall 1, Carlisle 0. And the games at Tranmere, Harrogate, Fleetwood and Wimbledon are all goalless. An opportunity for Fabian to bring the ball forward down the right hand side. Back from him to Urbanski. Posh, good reverse ball. At least the intention was right, but it was easily cut out by Maatsen. And Vincenzo Italiano, the shaven-headed Italian coach was far from happy that they couldn't make more of that situation. They haven't had too many counter-attacking opportunities in the last 10 minutes. But when they can get the ball forward in good areas, they can cause real problems. They've given a free kick away, Villa, inside the centre circle. Duran, the guilty party, foul on Freuler. And Abanski can lay to his right-hand side for Poch. 26 gone, Andy, at 0-0.
Yeah, as I say, bright, I think, opening 26 minutes to the game. I think obviously Villa have had the lion's share of possession. However, a couple of times they've slept and have got caught, and Bologna might have worked Martinez a little more than they actually did. They've had 2 or 3 good situations, but the last 10 minutes in particular, Villa have turned up the heat a bit. It's a poor pass.
And a shot is easily saved by Martinez with Delinga getting on the end of it, but Villa just gave it away on the edge of their own penalty area for a moment.
It was Leon Bailey. Just gave a square ball across the edge of the 18-yard box, straight to a Bologna player, Delinga, who actually took a left-footed shot first time, could have had a touch, but it was easily saved.
Now, good ball clipped over the top by McGinn, and he'll be able to find Madsen. Back for McGinn again. Thijs Delinga leading the line for Bologna. The player signed from Toulouse in the summer. He's still waiting for his first Bologna goal and maybe attack that as a striker who's short of a little confidence. Deadlock broken at the Emirates. Alex Crook.
Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0. It's a comical goal for the visitors to concede. Gabriel Martinelli cut in from the left-hand side, shot right-footed, the ball rebounds off the post. It hits the Shakhtar goalkeeper, Riznik, and nestles in the corner. It's an own goal. It's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0.
So Arsenal a goal up. Elsewhere in the Champions League, Sporting lead at Sturm Graz 1-0. Everything else is 0-0. After 10 goals in the 2 games earlier today with Milan and Monaco. Both getting resounding home wins. So Milan's first points of the campaign. Monaco's things stand right now top. Bailey chasing down the right-hand side, and free kick's gone against him. And he was battling with the Greek international Liko Giannis. As he gets back to his feet, there's just a little pump of the fists in front of the Bologna supporters, and if ever anything betrayed the fact that he thought he was lucky there to get that free kick, it was that.
Yeah. Emi Martinez it was with the ball at his feet, pings a 60-70 yarder over the top of Liko Giannis, the left back, and Leon Bailey, who are shoulder to shoulder, and they're both grappling for a yard, trying to get their body in front to go and get the ball and protect it, and in the end Leon Bailey adjudged to have just dropped the fullback to the floor. Harsh decision.
Bologna will try and play out from the back, the right-hand side of their own penalty area. Berkema finds Posh. He'll chip it for Pau Torres. A little cushion header down. Madsen will lay it back, trying to get away from a couple of challenges. He's done that really neatly.
Yeah, I like Liam Madsen, I do. He's versatile, can play in front of a fullback, can play in that position himself, always looking to get forward. Pau Torres has just got to have his wits about him. Every now and again he's got to say, whoa, come back here. Just have a breather and just stay in front of me for a bit. But Madsen, to all intents and purposes, is almost playing like a left winger.
Now Duran has been given a shove by Berkema, and it's a free kick to Villa on halfway. We've got 3 more live European games tomorrow. Celtic in Bergamo in the Champions League early kick-off. It's Atalanta Celtic tomorrow evening, 5:45. That's over on Talksport 2. Followed by Manchester City's game with Sparta Prague. 2 sides who've both taken 4 points so far. That kicks off at the Etihad at 8. And here on Talksport tomorrow night, Liverpool aiming to make it 3 Champions League wins in a row. No Diogo Jota, he hasn't travelled for that. An Arne Slot side in Leipzig, and that game kicks off at 8 tomorrow night here on Talksport. Ian Madsen trying to juggle the ball on the left-hand side of the penalty area. There's a clash of heads between him and Orsolini. Play goes on with McGinn. Posh knocks it away from him, and then Abanski can come back, and when he gets into a relatively safe position outside his penalty area, play will stop because of the bang to the back of the head of Orsolini, and he's going to be attended to.
He's having to do a lot of work, Orsolini. He's on a yellow card as well, don't forget, but he is having to track Ian Madsen stride for stride, and it's not easy for him to do that. Unfortunately, the ball just popped up in the air between the 2 players on the edge of the box, and they end up bumping heads. and the game stops as they both get a bit of treatment.
There's been a goal in the Championship at Deepdale. Mickey Gray.
Come back on. Preston 2, Norwich 1. Borja signs with the equaler with the first goal for Norwich City. Just worked down the right-hand side. He got a poke to it. His right foot. He popped the ball into the back of the net. Game on in the second half. Preston 2, Norwich 1.
Saints' 9th goal of the season for Norwich, who are unbeaten in 5. You're listening to Aston Villa against Bologna in the Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Now, a long way to go, but it is 1-0 to Dortmund away at Real Madrid.
Wow.
Daniel Marlon has scored that. Real, unbeaten in 35, unbeaten in 10 this season, 1 defeat in the last 57 games.
Well, they've already lost one in the Champions League this season, yeah?
Yes.
They have. They've already been beaten once already, so that's a huge start for Dortmund. Look, long way to go.
Yeah, lost to Lille on match day 2. Dortmund would have 3 wins out of 3, and obviously they're looking for revenge for last season's Champions League final defeat. It was a game in which Ian Maatsen played. He's playing for the Villa tonight. York have equalised at home to Barnet in that big game in the National League. That's 1-1 coming at the half-time. It is now half-time at Deepdale. Preston 2, Norwich 1. Half-time at Peterborough as well, 3-1 up at home to Blackpool. Villa bringing the ball forward. Just an opportunity from Bailey that he's passed up. He had Rodgers making a good run to his right. He couldn't play him in. He all just got a bit fractious. Duran then comes back and wins it back. He did well there for Villa because the players from both sides have stopped for a moment, and Duran, playing to the whistle, came back and won it back. Now Rodgers on the half turn, finding McGinn. Back he goes for Morgan Rodgers again. Lends it in towards Maatsen inside the penalty area. McGinn for Rodgers. This is great stuff from close quarters. Deflection on the initial cross. Tielemans with a right-footed effort. That's blocked by the diving Luca Mee on his 6-yard box and goes out of play for a Villa throw.
It's great football. Morgan Rodgers, Maatsen, John McGinn there. A bit of one-touch in and around the edge of the box, completely bamboozling those Bologna defenders and midfielders who are trying to track the runs. It falls to Yuri Tielemans. His volley is blocked. Villa still have it in the last third.
Maatsen back for Tielemans, and Pau Torres goes back for Diego Carlos. Torres again, forward to Maatsen. 0-0 here on Talksport. Jim Bradford and Andy Townsend talk you through the action in the second city tonight. Rodgers out of the right-hand side of the box for Bailey. Rolling his studs over the top of the ball, tried to draw somebody into making a challenge, and Doy obliges, but has won the ball cleanly, and he's going to be able to bring it away. Again, they'll look for that ball down the inside left channel. Delinga thought that he was fouled. The referee, Fabian, I beg your pardon, it was, and the referee said no foul, play allowed to continue. Villa have got the ball at centre half with Diego Carlos.
Yep, Leon Bailey just sort of tenderly getting back up onto his feet. He's got to be a little bit careful, Leon Bailey. A couple of times already this season, Unai Emery's dragged him off in games where he's not felt he's quite up to speed. And he's had a tough 10 minutes the last little spell in this game as well, so he's got to make sure that he sharpens up a little bit.
Well, that happened here against Bayern Munich, you'll remember. He came on as a sub and then got taken off 35 minutes later. Duran's given another free kick away for a foul on Freuler on the edge of the Bologna penalty area. We've got 10 to go to half-time.
Yeah, that moment, Jim, Ezri Konsa picked the ball up and ran about 50-60 yards, gave it to Leon Bailey, ran beyond him, and then Bailey lost it. Now, in those sort of situations in Champions League football, with a fullback out of position, that's how you can get punished. He's got to be better than that. If Konsa runs beyond him, he's got to make sure he protects that ball and gives him it back, or at least finds a claret and blue shirt. As it was, he put Konsa completely out of the game.
Real Madrid 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. Jamie Bino Gittins has scored the second there. Dortmund 2 up at Real Madrid. And PSG 0, PSV 1. No, along with that, PSV have won all 9 of their league games so far this season. Just the 1 point in the opening 2 Champions League games, but they lead at PSG by a goal to 0. Ball played forward, Bailey going up for it, battling with Lico Janis. The referee says play on, and Bologna will oblige coming out from the back with Orsolini. It is half-time at Ellen Road in our Talksport 2 commentary game. We'll get details in a moment. Fabian plays it back for Abanski. Berkema Across to Lukami. And now towards Liko Janis. And there's that ball again down the left-hand side. Fabian chasing, and Anna is there. Mops up, puts it out of play for a throw. Half-time details then at Ellen Road come from Talksport's Dave Rowe.
Leeds 2, Watford 0. Leeds 2 up inside 7 minutes, given a big helping hand by 2. Mistake from Hornets keeper Daniel Bachmann. First he fumbled a Ramazani shot for 1-0. Then he pushed a Nonto cross into the path of Aronson, who made it 2. Bachmann did save well from Nonto later in the half. Watford's best moment, a Shaq retards the effort, saved by Meslier. Second half will be live on Talksport 2. It's Leeds 2, Watford 0.
Thank you, Dave. Bologna in possession here. 0-0 the score. Now the ball is with Berkema. Plays it back towards halfway. Then there's good pressure on Remo Freuler. Rodgers can't win it back, but in playing it forward, it just becomes an inaccurate fight ball, and Villa have won most of those. Work it back for Martinez. A game that feels as though it's on the proverbial knife edge. You can certainly make a case for either side scoring first. Villa with such a good record when they have scored first this season. They've won every game. Bologna haven't got a good record when they've scored first. They blew a 2-0 lead in the last 20 minutes away to Genoa at the weekend, although it's quite a different team for the one that they're fielding tonight. They made 6 changes, but it won't do them any good. It's just the fact that they blew a game in which they were in such complete control. They've got the ball now at the back with their goalkeeper Lukas Skorupski. We've got 7.5 minutes to go to half-time here, Andy.
Yeah, we have indeed. Yep. It's, as you say, it's a good contest. It's a good test for Villa. I think Bologna have weathered a little storm in that last 10-minute spell. They've come through that unscathed. And will they and can they perhaps just construct something for themselves like they did in the first 10 minutes of the game?
Lukami, the Colombian international, bringing the ball forward towards halfway. Goes out to Liko Janis. Now Freuler just drops in at centre half for a moment. To his right-hand side for Berkema, the Dutchman who's in the AZ side, beaten by West Ham in the Conference League semi-final a couple of seasons ago. He's had a good time in Italy, the captain of Bologna. Long ball out towards Orsolini, who's controlled it well in his yellow boots. Tries to find a way through, tiptoeing past McGinn, can't get there. Back he goes for Posh. Posh with a high up and under. Martinez coming out, claiming well, and then bowling it out quickly for Rodgers. Rodgers past the first challenge and the second inside the centre circle. Duran in support for him. Great strength there. They've had 4 attempts to foul Villa players. Then there's a handball by Freuler. The referee's not seen it. Well, you can understand the good advantages that he played early on, but the handball was blatant. Yeah. And Orsolini will bring the ball forward. And it'll come towards the edge of the penalty area, but Villa are going to be able to knock it away. And the boos you can hear are for the Portuguese referee João Pinheiro. Rodgers particularly, and then Duran did brilliantly. Yeah. And they should have had a free kick.
Brilliant swashbuckling run from Morgan Rodgers again. Picked it up on the halfway line, and once he evades that first challenge and that first tackle, he is away. And then he very, very unluckily just had to drop it off to Duran, and I thought John Duran took the wrong option there. It was a handball, the referee didn't see it, but I think there was a better option available to Duran to go back to Rodgers.
Well, the ovation you can hear is for Tyrone Mings. Sent out the warm-up. A standing ovation from the Villa fans. And even a round of applause from some of the other Villa subs who were warming up with him. Luca Digne and Ollie Watkins. It's so good to see Mings back after everything he's been through. We worked out earlier, he's missed 3 years of his career through injury.
He's had some very serious injuries, Tyrone, and has missed an awful lot of football. So lovely for him to just be back amongst it. When you've had long injuries and long-term injuries, and we've all been there, when you've had them, it's just great to be back involved. If you can be back in Champions League matches, wow, that's really special, and a lovely reception for him.
It's half-time at Cardiff. Here's Talksport's Ian Danter.
Cardiff City 2, Portsmouth 0. Totally one-sided half. Cardiff 2 up inside a quarter of an hour. An own goal from Regan Poole on 6 minutes. And then a corner from the right, eventually guided in off the underside of the bar by Callum Robinson. Pompey's misery compounded by first-half injuries to Lane and goalkeeper Schmidt. It is Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0.
Ball out for a throw, which Posh will take. He's about 5 yards inside his own half. 0-0. Posh launching the throw forward into Villa territory. And Diego Carlos is there easily and knocks it to his right-hand side for Conte and gets the return ball.
Just need to take a bit more care, Villa. They're playing at such breakneck speed. Whenever they counter, they're really at full throttle every time to try and get beyond Bologna. Just need a bit of calm around the edge of the box. Just a little bit of just measured coolness in that real hurly-burly situation. If they can find that, then I think they'll score. I really do.
There's one Champions League game tonight between the sides who haven't picked up a point between them so far, and Girona lead it at home to Slovan Bratislava by a goal to nil coming up towards half-time. Arsenal, remember, leading by a goal to nil with an own goal for the goalkeeper after a Martinelli shot hit the post and ricocheted back off him and in. This one 0-0. The big European score of the night at the moment, Dortmund leading 2-0 at Real Madrid. We've got 3 minutes to go to half-time in this one.
If he ain't careful, Leon Bailey's going to get the drag again at half-time. If he's not careful, I'm just watching Unai Emery's reaction every time. Bailey been caught on it 3 or 4 times. He's not made his mind up, hasn't made decisions quick enough. Not faulting his effort, he's trying, believe you me, he's trying, but he's just got to be a bit careful. I can see Unai Emery's getting a little frustrated.
Here's Ndoye, bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Tried to find a way through, and Anna stuck out a right foot and steered the ball to relative safety. It's Bologna's opportunity now to have a little bit of sustained possession inside the Aston Villa half. They've got it on the edge of the centre circle. Played forward towards Fabian. He's caught the eye. A very long-legged, tall, ranging midfielder. He's not got an awful lot of miles on the clock. Giovanni Fabian, only 40-odd games for Bologna. And played forward now by him to Urbanski. And then as the ball comes back outside the penalty area, Urbanski's fouled, and it's a free kick which will be taken from a relatively potent position here for Bologna, not too far outside the penalty area, about 7-8 yards shy of the corner of the box.
Yeah, slightly on the angle, so it's not going to. No one's going to be shooting from this sort of territory. It's going to be whipped in. They've got good numbers in the box. And again, a couple of minutes before half-time, Villa need to make sure they deal with this.
Orsolini with his left foot, or Urbanski with his right. Now Orsolini looks the favourite with an in-swinging delivery here. He runs up to it. He's just tempted off actually for Urbanski, who then had to break his stride before firing a ball inside the penalty area. It's cleared, goes out towards Ndoye, round the first challenge, pulling it back to the edge of the penalty area. Then there was a layoff which didn't come off from Berkema, and Duran was there to intercept and bring it away for Villa. No real thoughts of a counter-attack because Villa can't get the bodies forward quickly enough. Madsen's got the ball. He's facing his own penalty area at the moment. He's played it back for Torres. He gets it forward. Tielemans can turn. Posh trying to bring him down. He's had a couple of nibbles at him. Referee might revisit that in a moment. He's certainly going to give a free kick for the second one that came in. Dan Ndoye breaking up the counter-attack. And he has given a free kick away. And then the referee has booked Posh for what he's shown as persistent infringement. He's pointed to 3 different areas of the field.
Yeah, I think that's a very good call from the referee there, because Yuri Tielemans received that ball under pressure from Posh, who's the right back, who's stepping in. Whenever that ball's played to midfield players, he's stepping in, but quite rightly there, he gets the yellow card. He just overstepped the mark.
Well, it did mean that Ndoye got away with the second one. Free kick taken. Just a long straight ball punted forward. Spin on the ball, saw it bounce wide out of the penalty area, and Duran read that. We go into 2 minutes of added time, as you can hear, at the end of the first half here in the second sitting. 0-0. As it was coming up at half-time here against Bayern 3 weeks ago. Duran with a little nutmeg, setting up Rodgers! And that is only just wide.
Great play. Lovely combination play between Rodgers and John Duran. It starts with a really lovely ball from Diego Carlos into John Duran, who's just dropped off the front. He knocks a square ball to Morgan Rodgers, who's about 22 yards out on his left foot. Takes the first touch, hits it well enough. Skorupski is scrambling to his left, and he's thankful it's just wide of his post.
Well, he scored at Ipswich and Fulham this season. Morgan Rogers is still waiting for his first Champions League goal, and he was only a few inches away from it there. He's involved now, and he's been played back in by Bailey, and he runs on, and the goalkeeper saved it with his right foot. Comes out for Bailey again to Tielemans. All of a sudden, the black shirts are back in numbers. Anana into the edge of the penalty area. Bailey trying to take it on. He couldn't find a way through past Lukami, and Freuler will clear, but great interplay again. That time Bailey with a killer pass, Rogers running onto it, and he looked an overwhelming favourite to score, but couldn't get it past the goalkeeper's left foot.
Didn't really hit it, did he, Jim? Brilliant run again. Really was from Morgan Rogers.
Now Maatsen for Tielemans, left-footed cross clipped inside the penalty area when perhaps, and it's so easy to say in hindsight from here, a shot might have been the better bet. Now that it will be cleared by Liko Janis out towards the far side. And as I say, very easy when you can sit here and watch everything and how it's turned out in hindsight, and you're not having to make split-second decisions. But I think if Tielemans could have that back, he would have gone for goal. Here's Delinga.
Good play from Delinga. Held that up well, dropped it back.
Now he's played it through the midfield for Ndoye, who will go square for Posh, and his is the last touch of the first half. It's raced by, but it is still 0-0. Plenty of skirmishes in either penalty area, but Villa having the better of the chances. Rogers closer than anybody else to breaking the deadlock. Both goalkeepers have had to make important stops, and at the break, it's Villa 0, Bologna 0.
Yeah, clean sheet in that first half for Posh. Haven't said that very often this season. 0-0 at Villa Park. It's 1-0 to Arsenal here at the Emirates. We'll round up the 45 shortly. But Andy Townsend, you mentioned in commentary about Villa's set pieces, how inventive they are with them, how innovative they are with them, but actually in free play as well. I think Aston Villa pass the ball around nicely, take up good positions, and they're quite, not direct as in long ball, but they'll play a ball forward to Rogers, to Duran,
correct,
just to upset and disrupt the opponent. It's really lovely to watch at times.
That's good. They mix it up well. Look, Yuri Tielemans I think has been excellent this season so far. You know, you can always knock it into his feet. He'll protect it. He'll take it, as will John McGinn. And as you say, every now and again, they go up to Duran when he's one-on-one with that last defender, or try and find Morgan Rogers maybe 10 yards deeper than him. They've done that quite well. They just haven't quite produced the finish. Some of their football, Villa, going forward, once again, has been very good. They've been tested a couple of times defensively. They slept in that first quarter of an hour once or twice, and Martinez had to make a couple of useful saves, but in the main, Villa have been dominant. If they get in front, I'm sure they'll go on and add to it.
Yeah, you know what, you talked about the high line that Villa have got, and that's where Bologna could have some joy. Yes. I think if anybody who watched the Liverpool game where they lost, they were actually possibly the better side. They had more efforts on goal, they were advanced, they were attacking, and they've shown that similar intent. I know Aston Villa have been on top, but Bologna have got that intent at times.
Yes, no, they have, and again, likewise, they're prepared to go a little bit longer every now and again, and again to good effect. But I think Morgan Rogers is the key. I really do. I think if they can release him second half, as we start to get into the second period, when players just start to feel the effects of a frantic pace, and I tell you what, Aid, it has been a ferocious pace, this one so far. Once the players start feeling the effects of that, that's when I think the pacey, powerful players really start to prosper. That's when I'm looking for Morgan Rogers to hopefully make the difference. If he wants to get in them England squads, he's got to take the chance he had here. Put through brilliantly by Leon Bailey. That's got to go in. If he starts to knock chances in the back of the net, I'm telling you, Tuchel will not be able to ignore what he does. He's devastating at times, he really is.
He's great to watch. Another chance that maybe they should have put away, Villa. The John Duran header from a corner.
Yes.
He meets it really well, rises really well, gets the better of his defender, plants it straight in the keeper's hands, really.
Correct, yeah. I mean, look, it's one of those ones, when you run across the near, you just want to try and make first contact. He does that, he gets a nice little flick on it. It's going towards the far post, but the goalkeeper's always there, and it's a reasonably comfortable save. But again, those set plays for Villa, they're always looking to produce something, always just trying to test you and make sure that the opposition are on their toes. They've had the better of it, Aid, but nothing to show for it so far.
Andy, for the time being, thanks very much. Aston Villa 0, Bologna 0 live here on Talksport, and here at the Emirates, Arsenal have the lead, but only just, Alex Crook.
It's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0, the only goal of the half coming in the 29th minute, and very fortuitous as far as the Gunners are concerned. Gabriel Martinelli picked up the ball down the left-hand side, cut in as he always does, on his right foot, his shot deflected onto a post, and as it rebounded off the frame of the goal, it hit the Shakhtar goalkeeper Dmitry Riznik on the backside and nestled into the bottom corner. Arsenal could have taken the lead in the 6th minute. Trossard with a corner from the right-hand side. Calafiori, unmarked, could only fire over from 6 yards out. We've also seen an excellent piece of defending from the Shakhtar captain, Matvienko, hooking the ball away off the head of Kai Havertz as he looked certain to score. And then late in the half, Gabriel Jesus saw his effort from close range saved by the luckless Riznik. But you're right, Adrian, no Saka in the team tonight, no Ødegaard obviously as well. And they have lacked fluidity, Arsenal. They've lacked a little bit of guile, I think, but they're ahead.
Yeah, agree with that. The only goal has gone in off the keeper's bum, and that Matvienko clearance was something else. I think the whole stadium thought it was a goal, and somehow he's hooked his foot around Havertz's head and got the ball away. Listen, make no mistake, Arsenal are on top here, but they're not turning that into goal-scoring opportunities, are they? And I don't know, they're going to win the game. You feel that because Shakhtar are creating nothing. But I'm expecting a little bit more from Arsenal if they're going to be Champions League contenders this season.
Yeah, and again, I think it highlights the problem maybe at the top end of the pitch. Kai Havertz has scored 4 in his last 5 games, but apart from that effort when the defender got there first, hasn't really looked like adding to that tally. I was expecting a big night from Gabriel Jesus this evening. He's wearing the captain's armband. He said that one effort saved by the goalkeeper. Apart from that, I think he's been on the periphery really, and certainly not really staking a claim for a place in the team to face Liverpool in that big Premier League game on Sunday afternoon.
I mean, you are absolutely right. It's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0. Elsewhere then, Villa 0, Bologna 0 in our commentary game. In the Champions League, it's Girona 1, Slovan Bratislava 0. Miguel Gutierrez with the goal. He slammed it home. Juventus 0, Stuttgart 0, PSG 0, PSV 1. Noah Lang with a brilliant finish, but how PSG haven't scored in that game, I don't know. They've gone so close so many times. Real Madrid 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. Daniel Marlon, the former Arsenal youngster, with the first for Dortmund. Then Jamie Bono Gittins, the English 20-year-old, the England under-21 international, with the second goal. Real Madrid hit the bar twice in the space of seconds from Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham, and Jude actually dollied a simple chance into the keeper's arms as well. Real Madrid 0, Dortmund 2, and Sturm Graz 0, Sporting Lisbon 1 at half-time. We've got a goal at Ellen Road. Dave Rowe.
Leeds 2, Watford 1. Watford back in the game. 96 seconds into the second half. Quadro Barra's got it. He was fed down the right-hand side by Sissoko. He got round strike to the byline, pulled it into the area. The cross then came back off Rodon and fell very kindly for Barr to blast it past Meslier and in to give Watford some hope here. Game is live on Talksport 2. Leeds 2, Watford 1.
Celebrating his new contract with a goal, Quadro Barra, with a 2-1 down at Leeds. That's live on Talksport 2, as Dave was saying. Elsewhere, Walsall get a second against Carlisle. Jamie Jellis with that. Forest Green 2 up against Ebbsfleet. Crawley lead Lincoln 1-0. Will Swan just after the restart. Swindon have equalised at Salford 1 apiece. Bristol City pull 1 back at Stoke. Nacky Wells with it. Stoke 2, Bristol City 1. It's half-time at Loftus Road in the Championship. Ian Abrams.
Queen's Park Rangers 0, Coventry 1. The bottom side heading for their 5th straight defeat then after Hadji Wright's goal on 4 minutes. Cross from Brandon Thomas Asante from the left-hand side. Van Ewok's header was brilliantly saved on the line, but QPR after that made a mess of it inside their own 6-yard box, couldn't clear properly, and when it fell to Hadji Wright 12 yards out, he slammed home. Ilias Chair is trying his best single-handedly to drag QPR back into this game, but they haven't really gone that close to an equaliser. It's Queen's Park Rangers 0, Coventry 1.
In League 1, Wycombe retake the lead at Burton 2-1, Luke Leahy, and in League 2, AFC Wimbledon 1, Morecambe 0. James Tilley has got the goal. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, home of European football, and the game is at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa 0. It is Bologna 0, but it's been a really good 0-0 live on TalkSport.
Kick off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Idris Elba here. Being an actor, I find it pretty easy to switch. 1 minute I am an impulsive detective. Next, a watchman of the gods. Then, a ferocious tiger. But nothing is easier than switching your broadband to Skyfall Fibre.
And you can chat to someone anytime, day or night, which comes in handy for DJ Idris.
Here comes advertising, Idris. Get Skyfall Fibre 300 for our lowest ever price, just £29 a month with no setup fees. Sky, Believe in better.
Price may change during 24-month term. £43 a month after. Ends 23rd of October. Average download 300 megabits per second. Speeds vary. Terms apply.
At the heart of the action with Betfred.
It's an absolute screamer.
Sign up online and get a total of £50 in free bets. Simply stake £10 and receive 3 £10 sports bets and 2 £10 ACCAs. Bet 10, get 50 with Betfred. Love football, Betfred. New online customers only. 5 £10 free bets. Offer ends 31st of Jan 2025. Odds restrictions on initial stake. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
This Tuesday, Amazon brings you the UEFA Champions League.
Who's going to get on the end of it? Who wants it more? Magnificent. Wonderful goal.
Arsenal versus Shakhtar. Live from 6:30 p.m. It's on Prime.
It's fast, it's exhilarating, it's Team Sport, the UK's #1 indoor karting experience. Battle it out at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour and feel the thrill of acceleration as you race to the finish line. Team Sport Karting has over 36 locations. There's a track near you. Save 10% when booking online. Use the code GET10 on the Team Sport website. Verification at team-sport.co.uk.
There are all sorts of fans who make racing what it is. The armchair expert who knows it all, right down to what the horse had for breakfast. The country gents head to toe in tweed, and the ladies with their extravagant hats. The banana-suited stag-do lads, and the nan who just backed the horse because it has a funny name. Whatever kind of racing fan you are, don't miss the Coral Daily Download every morning from 6 on the Superstar Breakfast on Talksport with Coral. We're here for it. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish!
The Champions League live on Talk Sport.
So Villa goalless, Arsenal 1-up. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus ACCA lets you down. Pre-match straight line ACCAs only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So yeah, live on Talksport, it's still Aston Villa 0, Bologna 0. Villa are 20-19 on to win. Bologna are 9-2. The draw is 17-10. Here at the Emirates, Arsenal 1-0 up against Shakhtar Donetsk. Kai Havertz to score next is 5-1. Leandro Trossard to score anytime is 3-1. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Right, let's run you through some goals. Port Vale 1-0 up at Harrogate. Rory Payton signed from Queen's Park in the summer has got the goal for Vale, who are top of League 2. Bristol City were 2 down at half time. It's now 2-2 at Stoke. Naki Wells has got them both. Stoke 2, Bristol City 2. Derby have equalised at Oxford in the Championship. Nathaniel Mendes Lang. Wigan 1, Mansfield 1. Forest Green 3-0 up on Ebbsfleet, who are bottom of the National League. Walsall 3, Carlisle 0 as well. Let's go to Deepdale for an update. Mickey Gray.
48:58 on the clock, and Preston have just come so close to getting the third goal of this game. It's still Preston 2, Norwich 1, but Emil Rees-Jacobs has just been played through in a 1v1 situation. He's just shot wide, but they played so well in this game. Preston took their goals fantastic in the first half. Norwich, a lot of possession, just need to do something more in that final third if they're going to get themselves back into the game. Preston 2, Norwich 1.
What's happening at the Cardiff City Stadium? Talksport and Dancer.
Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0, 6 gone in the second half. Cardiff have picked up where they left off at half-time, really bossing the game. And Ruben Colwell looks especially elegant in the attacking midfield role he's got for Cardiff. He'll climb out the bottom three with the 3 points they're getting here. They forced a couple of corners early on in the second half. Portsmouth forced into more changes at the break. Birthday boy Jordan Williams going off, and also Christian Saley's been brought in to try and pep up the attack. Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0.
And to Alan Roden in our commentary game on Talksport 2. Dave Rowe.
Leeds 2, Watford 154 plays. Certainly game on here. Watford have emerged for the second half having a real go. They got one back through Barr early in the second half. Then they got Larousse free down the left. His cross-come shot went over the crossbar. And Leeds really yet to get going in the second 45. They were forced into a change in the first half. The early goal scorer, Ramazani, was forced off injured. Solomon is on for him. But we certainly have a game on here. It's live on Talksport 2. It's Leeds 2, Watford 1.
You're listening to the Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent a Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. We're back underway in the second half here at the Emirates, where it's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar Donetsk 0. Still waiting for the teams to come out at Villa Park as goals fly in the EFL tonight. MK Dons double their lead against Accrington in League 2. Joe Tomlinson 2-2 for the wing-back, and Grimsby lead at Tranmere by a goal to 0. Justin Abiku with that. Championship latest scores are Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0, Leeds 2, Watford 1, live on Talksport 2, Oxford 1, Derby 1, Preston 2, Norwich 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Swansea 0, Stoke 2, Bristol City 2, QPR 0, Coventry 1. Goal in League 1, Exeter 2 down to Reading, have just pulled one back. Exeter 1, Reading 2. Elsewhere in League 1, Barnsley are 1 up against Charlton, Birmingham 1, Bolton 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Shrewsbury 0, Burton 1, Wickham 2, Crawley 1, Lincoln 0, Orient 0, Rotherham 0, Peterborough 3, Blackpool 1, Stevenage 0, Cambridge 1. Gary Monk's side looking for back-to-back wins. Stockport 0, Northampton 0, Wigan 1, Mansfield 1, and Wrexham 0, Huddersfield 0. League 2, Wimbledon lead Morecambe 1-0, Barrow 1, Notts County 0, Cheltenham 1, Bradford 1, Colchester 1 up at Chesterfield, and Bromley lead 1-0 at Doncaster. Fleetwood Crew is goalless. Newport 2-0 up at Gillingham, who are heading for a 5th straight defeat. Harrogate 0, the leaders Port Vale 1, MK Dons 2, Accrington 0, Salford 1, Swindon 1, Tranmere 0, Grimsby 1, and Walsall, the goal machines in League 2, 3-0 up against Carlisle. Goal at Deepdale, Mickey Gray.
It's the equaliser. It's Preston 2, Norwich 2, and it come from Shane Duffy. He burst from his own half. He played a lovely little give and go with Josh Sargent in the 18-yard area. It fell to his right foot, and he just slotted the ball into the back of the net. It's been coming. It's the equaliser. Preston 2, Norwich 2.
And we'll keep you in touch with all the goals, but the teams are out at Villa Park, where it's Aston Villa 0, Bologna 0. Second half, live on Talksport with the former Villa captain Andy Townsend alongside your commentator Jim Proudfoot.
And both teams have made changes at half-time. Villa have brought Ross Barkley on, and he has replaced Amadou Onana. Barkley, who's got a little bit of Champions League experience from his Chelsea days before he came to Villa. And he's come on. I don't know whether that's a byproduct of Onana picking up a couple of heavy knocks in the first half. They've also, Bologna made a change with Orsolini, the right winger, who's on a yellow card coming off. And Odgaard, who scored an excellent goal for Bologna at the weekend, has come on to replace him. He played at a 10 at the weekend, but he's playing on the right wing today. But interesting, Barkley for Onana, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, and Onana a couple of times actually felt like he was on the receiving end of a couple of challenges, so 1 or 2 bumps and bruises for him. And I think, again, Unai Emery just wants in Villa a little bit more consistent control. Now he's got his best 2 ball-retaining central midfielders in Yuri Tielemans and Ross Barkley. They're both very good at hanging on to the ball and making sure they try and take care of it. Obviously, they've got to do the other side. They've got to track those runners and make sure that they deny Bologna occasionally. But Villa now, when they have good possession with those 2, they should be able to prompt from there and really set Morgan Rogers and Duran away.
In League 1, Burton have equalised at home to Wickham. First career league goal for Charlie Webster. As the ball is played forward down the Bologna left. And Ross Barkley is there to lock it away. And then Konsa is in there. Konsa off balance, did really well to deal with Fabian, and Rogers with another little beautiful, deft, clever, cute touch around the corner. And then Bailey, trying to make a run onto a through ball, was blocked off cynically by Liko Janis, who gets a yellow card, and he's protesting his innocence, but he clearly ran across his line and stopped, so that Bailey would end up getting a face full of Liko Janis's back. He's gone down hurt, and Liko Janis is in the book.
Yeah, not quite sure exactly. Let's have another look at that. I don't think Leon Bailey's getting on the end of that pass. Liko Janis has got his arms up. It's kind of across the throat area of Leon Bailey. He hits the floor. Liko Janis gets a yellow card. Villa get a free kick about 45 yards out. Big guys have gone forward while they're going to clip this one up into the box.
Tielemans Mocking the ball square. Madsen driving it forward towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Conser with a header. Bailey with a snapshot. Cross the face of goal and wide.
Oh, what a chance. Great free kick again. I thought they were going to put it straight into the box. They didn't. They went square, and then Madsen knocked it on the diagonal to Conser. He wins the header. It drops for Leon Bailey on the right foot. On the right foot, which isn't so trusty as, of course, as his left side. And he just drags the shot wide of the post when, from about 8 yards inside the width of the post, it's a real good chance that, but he just doesn't quite get the contact he wanted.
Juventus have won both of their games in the Champions League so far, but they trail at home to Stuttgart to a goal from the former Brighton man Dennis Undav. His 7th of the season. Only the 4th goal that Juventus have conceded in 11 games in this campaign, but it's Juve 0, Stuttgart 1. And a reminder that the big scoreline in Europe tonight, Real Madrid 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. Here's Odgaard, the recently arrived substitute for Bologna. It's 0-0 here at Villa Park tonight. The ball played back for Berkema. And he just rolls it down towards Liko Giannis, who's the 3rd of Bologna's players to have had his name taken tonight. Lukami does well to turn it square for Berkema when it looked as though he was going to go back to his goalkeeper, and Villa had read that. Berkema now can chip one over the top, and then Ross Barkley, as he pulled Fabian to the ground, referee says no. Cross comes in across the edge of the area, right-footed shot just wide. Great. Coming onto it was Posh. Right-footed drive from him, narrowly wide. The referee said that there was a foul by Barkley on Fabian, and he played the advantage, and now players stopped. He's booked Ross Barkley for the challenge.
Really good play that from Bologna. Down the left side, lovely run from Liko Giannis. He cuts the ball back, and Posh is racing on the end of that, right on the edge of the box. And again, a better strike, just hit a target there. There's players running onto balls that are cut back. Yes, keep your head down, but you've got to make sure you hit the target. It's all well and good going for the corners, but if it's 3 yards wide of the post, it's no good to anybody. You've got to make sure you work the goalie. That's a really good chance, that is, for Bologna.
Mansfield 2-1 up at Wigan through Keanu Bacchus. And this is still 0-0. And now Fabian can just go back to his goalkeeper, and Skorupski will take a touch and play out from the back for Bologna.
Question for you, Jim. Real Madrid 2 down at home. If they get one, do they win it?
Every chance. And you're having a little chuckle because you and I have had a little friendly wager on how that one might turn out.
I've just seen that happen so many times in that stadium. Great first half by the sounds of it from Dortmund, but still a long way to go.
They're unbeaten at home in 38, Real Madrid, going back to April 2023, so that's the back end of the season before last. Villarreal with the last side to win there. A 3-2 victory for Villarreal that night. Will Real Madrid be able to turn it around tonight? Chesterfield have equalised at home to Colchester through Will Grigg. The ball is out for a throw, which is taken on the Bologna right and worked forward for the tall, blonde-haired Dane Odgaard, headed away by Pau Torres, and then Odgaard on the halfway can stick his foot on the ball and hit an excellent pass out of the left for Dan Ndoye. Controls it right in front of us. We're midway inside the half that Villa are defending, and Ndoye's ball inside the penalty area, swept up by Pau Torres. Barkley just struggling to get to the pace of the game at the moment, gave it away there, and Liko Giannis wins it back, and now Freuler will find Urbanski in the midfield, and he plays it out towards Posh over on the right. Wimbledon 2, Morecambe 0. A live commentary game over on Talksport 2 continuing right now. Leeds 2-1 up at home to Watford. Tielemans getting possession back for the Villa. Coming to the edge of the centre circle and then turning. There's no pressure on him. He's got an opportunity to look up and survey his options. And Pau Torres is the pass that he picks and now finds Carlos.
I think wisely, just keeping it. Just lost possession a couple of times there, Villa. Yuri Tielemans, again, very reliable with the ball and has had an excellent season. Just decided to slow things down just a little bit.
Sporting 2 up away to Sturm Graz. Victor Gyökeres scoring again. 13th goal of the season for him. Martinez with the ball at his feet. Just waiting and waiting. And Dalinga was dallying. And then eventually put a little bit of pressure on. And that was the cue for Martinez to go route one right down the middle. Bologna can mop up at the back. And get it out towards the right-hand side. Accrington have got one back at Milton Keynes. They lose 2-1. They trail 2-1. It's a free kick that Villa are going to take for an offside, and they'll take it right on halfway.
Just a couple of times when Emi Martinez puts his foot on the ball, we all know what he does. He's dragging people onto him. He then looks for John Duran. He's just got to drop it into him. At the moment, everything's up around Duran's head. All he can do is flick it on, and he hasn't got enough support in and around him. If he can just clip those balls over the midfield and drop that into his chest so as he can hang on to it, then others can join in.
Now Fabian has gone down hurt. Play allowed to continue. Consta. Oh, that's a cynical challenge from Freuler. That's got to be a yellow card. I mean, he's cleaned him out. He stopped him getting past him down the right touchline and has just absolutely smashed him to the ground.
Yeah, he certainly did. Clever ball down the line. Lovely run from Ezri Konsa. Freuler knew exactly what he was doing there. He wasn't going to let Konsa disappear and get away from him. He gets a yellow card for that.
So that's 4 of the Bologna players who are on yellow cards. Meanwhile, Fabian is still down hurt. Emi Martinez has come out of his own penalty area and is administering his own amateur medical prognosis as to what is wrong with Fabian or what might not be wrong with him. He's just giving his thigh a rub. That's Fabian, giving his own thigh a rub, I hasten to add. He's back on his feet without the need for treatment.
He's just got a dead leg there, Fabian. They can be painful. He can get through the game, but tomorrow morning, he'll be in desperate trouble. He gets out of bed.
Speaks to a man who knows. Yeah. Get to our age, every morning's like that. Leyton Orient lead Rotherham 1-0 down Happen. And a free kick here, which John McGinn will stand over for Aston Villa. He's 6 yards in from the right-hand touchline and a similar distance shy of the edge of the penalty area. The opportunity for Bailey on the edge of the penalty area, but he's got 6 in more advanced rolls inside the box. He swung it in here. Oh, way through. And Aston Villa have the breakthrough. It didn't need a touch. John McGinn with the tonic for Aston Villa, who deserve the advantage 10 minutes into the second half. An element of good fortune with it. But as the ball was swung in, everybody missed it, and it's gone in. And now just a few words between the coaches.
Yeah.
Vincenzo Italiano clearly felt as though Villa should have put the ball out of play because of the injury in the preceding phase of play to Fabian. They didn't. They played with a whistle, as they're entitled to do. And John McGinn scores.
I tell you, it's a really clever free kick from John McGinn. So he's on the right side, whipping it in with his left foot. What he does is what everyone should do. When you're whipping a ball in on an in-swinger, you've got to make sure it stays inside the post. Everybody run across the front of the ball looking for a flick. Nobody touches it, and the goalkeeper's in that horrible position. He thinks there might be a touch, and it might end up going near post. The ball bounces, pops up straight in the far corner. Brilliant free kick, but Bologna not happy. Not happy. They felt that, one, the Freuler challenge wasn't a foul, and two, as you said, that there was an infringement on one of their players in Villa territory.
Well, that was what Italiano was complaining about.
It's being checked now, Jim. It's being checked here.
So all that can be being checked is whether there's pushing and shoving going on whilst players were attacking that ball inside the penalty area. So no guarantee that this is going to count. It has to be, and we haven't seen a replay of it yet, but it has to be that somebody was blocking off one of the Bologna defenders. It can't go back to the previous phase of play.
Was it indirect and no one touched it? Was it indirect and nobody touches that ball?
Well, it stands. It was a direct free kick. I think what they were looking at is whether the ball just brushed off the hand.
Yeah, might have been.
Of, I think it was Barkley.
It was Ross Barkley who went for it. And it looked like he got the merest of touches, maybe off of his head, but they had to check it. Villa had the lead.
Villa 1, Bologna 0. 3 wins out of 3 in the Champions League group stage. Well, Villa are half an hour away from that. Crawley 2, Lincoln 0. Elsewhere, PSG have equalised at home to PSV. Ashraf Hakimi has scored that. And we'll be going to Arsenal very shortly. for an update from the Emirates. I think, Andy, you and I have got the long straw tonight. I think, yet again, an excellent European night here at Villa Park. They're looking for an immediate response. Bologna, sliding challenge comes in. Goal kick. As Posh's cross hit the nearest Villa defender, ricochets back into him and goes out of play. Villa 1, Bologna 0, and let's go back to the Emirates. It's Talksport's Alex Crook.
15 minutes gone in the second half. It's still Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0. Leandro Trossard with a glancing header wide, as close as we come to a goal in this second half. The big talking point, though, Ben White didn't come out for the second half, replaced by Marino at half-time. He was booked in the first half. Arsenal fans will be hoping that's why, and it's not another injury ahead of Liverpool here on Sunday. Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Aston Villa 1, Bologna 0. Villa have taken the lead or scored first in 5 games this season in all competitions. They have won all 5. Ross Barkley's got the ball at his feet. Peterborough 5, Blackpool 1. They've scored a couple of goals in 3 minutes there. Joel Randall getting the 5th. That's his 2nd of the night. Villa trying to work the ball forward here, just too far ahead of Morgan Rogers, and they've still got Ollie Watkins to come off the bench.
They have indeed. Got tremendous options on the bench. But that's the perfect start to the second half for Aston Villa. Finding that breakthrough. Clever free kick from John McGinn. Beautifully flighted. It finds its way into the far corner. So now Bologna have to push, and that might leave more gaps for Villa to exploit.
Dan Ndoye going down a little bit cheaply under a challenge from Consta. The referee waved him up. Ball played forward here to Morgan Rogers, who's run 50 yards, and he gets it back here from Duran. Can't get a left-footed shot in. He sets up Tielemans. He goes to his left for McGinn. Rolled forward towards Ian Matson. Blocked by Berkema. Nobody taking the responsibility in front of goal.
Great run from Morgan Rogers again, but get your shot away. So unselfish, laying it out to Duran. He eventually gets it back right on the edge of the box. Maybe just got to try and get it out of his feet. Hit it with his left foot. One pass too many, and Bologna managed to see out the danger, but lovely run again. In terms of getting the ball on the half-turn, Jim, and using his body to protect it and then sprinting away from people, I'm not sure if there's anyone in the league that does it as well as that boy. He does that so well, he really does.
Real Madrid 1.
Oh, here we go.
Dortmund 2. Tony Rudiger with the goal. Here's Rogers getting it forward. Ramsey's going to be coming on in a moment for Villa, and Jaden Philogene as well. The ball has gone out for a throw that'll be taken by Bologna on the edge of their own penalty area, level the edge of their own penalty area, and Ollie Watkins is getting ready as well. His hometown club Torquay have turned it around tonight in the National League South. They were 1-0 down, they're 2-1 up.
Oh, the boys are doing it, yeah.
If you're interested. The ball thrown forward, McGinn heads it away, and it goes out for a throw which will be taken again on the Bologna left-hand side. You're listening to Aston Villa against Bologna in the Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Just looking at Vincenzo Italiano, the coach of Bologna, he's still chipping away at the 4th official about what happened, that incident in and around the goal. Really unhappy, felt his team come out on the wrong end of that one.
But it wasn't a head injury, the challenge on Fabian.
It was just a coming together, wasn't it? He got a dead leg, yeah. I think he felt the challenge from Freuler wasn't a foul as well, which was actually what was given, and from that free kick, McGinn curls it in at the far corner.
Barkley's done really well. Going to the pace of the game now, it's a clever little diagonal ball forward, and he then moved into space, got the ball back from Rogers, works it out to the left for Pau Torres, who's 10 yards outside his own penalty area, and he's gone back inside the box for Emi Martinez. Well, no one's quite sure. It's been the first year of this revamped Champions League format, but loads of boffins at various different websites have run simulations for what you might need as the Villa play the ball forward. Rogers racing onto it, and Skorupski's done well. He read it very quickly and sprinted outside his penalty area to head it away. Most people reckon 16 points from 8 games is going to be enough for a top 8 finish, and that will get you through without the need for a playoff round into the round of 16. Now, if they're right,
Villa will have 9 from 3. They'll only need 7 points from the last 5 games to give themselves a really outstanding chance of a top 8 finish in the 36-team group, which would be in their first Champions League campaign. An absolutely outstanding return. They've got Bruges away next, Juventus at home, Leipzig away, Monaco away, Celtic at home. That's what they've still got left. They'll bring the ball forward now. They're leading, courtesy of that John McGinn goal. The ball played out towards Bailey. This might be his last contribution with Ramsey getting ready to come on. But Bailey put under pressure by Lico Janis. Does well to hold it up. Appreciative applause from the Villa faithful. Barkley goes back for Pau Torres. And he'll take a touch inside his own half and work it forward towards McGinn. Now to Tielemans. Tielemans to his left back for John McGinn again. And he'll go back inside his own half for Pau Torres. A goal in one of the big games at the bottom of the Championship. Ian Abrahams.
Queen's Park Rangers 1, Coventry 1, ball in from the right-hand side, and it was met by substitute Kieran Morgan on loan from Spurs. His first goal for QPR, how big it may be. QPR 1, Coventry 1.
John Duran doubles Aston Villa's advantage. Ball flipped in from the left-hand side of the penalty area, and Duran just waved nonchalantly a left foot in it and swept it into the bottom right-hand corner. Prolific off the bench, scoring as a starter tonight. Another Champions League goal for the irrepressible Colombian. And Aston Villa march on in Europe at some pace.
It's a great ball from Diego Carlos on the halfway line to spin the ball to turn Bologna round once more. It's Morgan Rogers who gets on the end of the ball. He then clips it in, and the ball is travelling along the 6-yard line. And John Duran from behind the defender then gets half across the front of him, uses all that power and strength that he's got to just resist the challenge and flick his left foot at the ball on the volley, and it just bounces into the far corner, giving the goalkeeper no chance, and I think putting this one beyond the Italians.
And it gives Aston Villa the chance to make that triple change. And Duran has scored with his last touch of the night, because Watkins comes on for him, Philogene and Ramsey coming on for McGinn and Bailey. Listen to this ovation for John Duran as he leaves the field.
And he's soaking it up. He's not in a hurry, John, to leave the field. Terrific from him. Getting a goal, very important. Ollie Watkins comes on, and you see the changes being made. Jaden Philogene coming on for John McGinn as well.
And meanwhile, Bologna have also made a couple of changes. One up front, Santiago Castro, the young Argentinian striker, replaces Dalinga. And they've also brought the Croatian international Nicola Moro on into the heart of midfield. Real Madrid 2, Dortmund 2. 2 goals in 3 minutes. I think you can sense who's on which end of this particular wager that Andy and I have got. 2-2 is Vinicius' goal that has going to cost me some money. Conte will take a throw and lays it back for Barkley. 2-0 here to the Villa with 20 minutes gone in the second half. And a good value for it as well. And this will extend their unbeaten run to 10, 8 wins in 10 in all competitions, providing they hang on here. Watkins has done really well, and he's found Rogers. Rogers in the centre circle, worked out towards Jaden Philogene, who sent off for the weekend. Bringing it forward now, onto his left foot. Poised to shoot, didn't, lays it back, and it's swept over the bar by Rogers.
Lucky. Great body swerves there from Jaden Philogene, attacking from this right side, a couple of step overs, ends up rolling it to Morgan Rogers. He just needs a goal. Morgan Rogers, his performance has been excellent. If he can just knock one in the back of the net, another half chance for, well, I think presentable opportunity, that one, not easy from outside the box, but a different type of finish, and it might have produced a better result for him.
I remember talking to you 3 weeks ago in the immediate aftermath of the Bayern Munich game, just what it meant to Aston Villa. But this is no case of after the Lord Mayor's show tonight, and you can hear the noise resonating around. And as someone with amongst other clubs, Aston Villa in their blood, Andy. It's so special for them.
It's great. It's brilliant. They've waited a long time for it. They really have. I experienced some lovely nights here in the UEFA Cup, etc., but this is on a different level.
Rodgers playing it forward, Watkins out towards Philogene. Villa are rampant now. Philogene on his left. Oh, well, maybe should have had a shot. He's put that out of play for a throw 15 yards from the corner flag.
That's in my day. You could look round at the ground there at the pitch and blame the groundsman. But Jaden Philogene there, just lovely step over, comes in on the left foot. Looks like he's trying to bend that in the top corner. It goes out, as you say, for a throw on the far side.
Yeah, not his best. Stockport 1, Northampton 0. Louis Barry, who's on loan from Villa. Two the Hatters has scored that. Cam McGee had sent off for Northampton. Villa bring it forward again with Maatsen. Couldn't feed Philogene. Opportunity for Bologna to bring it away. Not a lot of jeopardy here at the moment, but still a little bit of Arsenal, Crookie.
20 minutes to go. It's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0, but more injury problems for Arsenal. Ricardo Calafiori has just been forced off. He stretched as he went in for a tackle, seemed to twist his knee, tried to continue, he couldn't. That's another big headache for Mikel Arteta heading into Liverpool here in the Premier League on Sunday. Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0.
Talking of Sunday, don't forget Sunday night brings you the opportunity to reflect on everything that's happened in another pulsating week of European action. The Trans-Europe Express returning Sunday night from 9. Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel be dissecting all the key talking points in the Champions League and Europa League. And as well as that, latest episode of Danny's Trans-Euro Express podcast available right now with new episodes every Monday morning. You can listen to it on the Talksport app and via your favourite podcast platforms. And you would imagine that they will be reflecting on Aston Villa being one of the sides with a 100% record through 3 games. Big ovation for Duran, who's just making his way down the tunnel, actually. I don't know whether he's just slightly aggravated an injury. Nothing serious by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just making his way down the tunnel away to our left-hand side. And he pumps his fist to the air, high-fives a couple of young Villa fans on his way past. It's a thing that there was talk only a matter of weeks ago about him leaving the club and not being happy, and look at him now.
Yeah, so true that. There was talk about West Ham having him in the summer, wasn't there? And then all of a sudden he's done everything right. Attitude's been great whenever he's come off the bench. Tonight he started well, was always bright, always looked lively. Got that flick header away in the first half that on another day might have sneaked its way into the back of the net. And then literally, as he was about to leave the field, clever little ball through, lovely cross from Morgan Rogers, and he gets across his man and toe-hands it in. Great finish.
Any player who's scored 7 goals and only started 2 games over the course of this season can say that he's doing all right.
Yeah. Well, of course, tonight's different for him because he started the game and scored. And it's certainly, look, Ollie Watkins is, I think, Villa's #1 striker, but he's putting him right under the cosh. He is. They got a very healthy rivalry, as well as being teammates and hopefully getting on great. They've got a little rivalry between them.
12 goals between the pair of them this season. 7 for Duran, 5 for Watkins. Bologna bringing the ball forward now with a left-footed shot, and Martinez has had very few efforts to deal with after the first 15 minutes. Dives to his right-hand side and makes a comfortable save. I think it was just a comfort stop, actually, for Duran. He's back out.
He's just come back on, yeah.
Just to milk the applause again.
I think he's just getting another little ripple. He's taking it, yep.
More high fives on his way past. Watkins trying to turn away from Berkeman. And the ball goes through to the right-hand side. And Bologna, it's a very similar performance, really, to that we saw at Liverpool, because there's been plenty to recommend or to look at and think that there are positives, and yet they haven't scored and are going to lose. They're going to have 1 point from 3 games at the end of the night, probably.
And I think the way their season's gone, Jim, I think, as I said to you at the start of the game, first goal tonight, if Villa get it, they just might find it tough because they're not free scoring. They battle and they scrap, and they haven't given it up tonight. And there's still plenty of time left for them to have an effect on the game, but they just don't have a cutting edge.
Have come back from 2-0 down in 1 game already this season against Como. They're trying to do it again tonight. High ball inside the penalty area, and watching it back, Philogene gets his thigh to it and puts it behind for the first corner that Bologna have won.
Yeah. Deep cross, and Jaden Philogene, and he did this really well against Bayern Munich for a young lad. stuck to his job, tracked his runners, made sure his defensive work was neat and tidy.
Crosstown from here. Blues 2, Bolton 0. Jay Stansfield. And Birmingham going to extend their lead at the top of that division. Ball inside the penalty area is knocked away from the corner and then helped further cleared by Matson. Freuler leans over it. It was awkward control, but the handball shout, I think, was rightly turned away by the Portuguese referee. Morrow plays it forward out to the right-hand side for Bologna, who will chase after it. Low ball inside the penalty area from Castro is easily cleared. And then Tielemans tries to take it on, but just ran into Lucami. The Colombian bringing it forward. Looks as though he's going to try and shoot from 40 yards there. He didn't. Lays it back instead for Fabian. And Fabian will come forward. He's got Odgaard ahead of him. He's got Castro making a darting run to the right-hand side of the penalty area. And he then comes back. Played into the feet of Fabian, who was influential in the first half, but less so in the second. Clipped over the top by Lucami, might well be offside. Flag stayed down and now comes up. Contra had dealt with it, but looks as though there were two players in an offside position for Bologna.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, the ball was clipped into the box. Substitute Castro, I think, was standing on the penalty spot a couple of yards offside.
Girona 2, Slovan Bratislava 0. Elsewhere in the Champions League. And there's a penalty at the Emirates. Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
And a chance to seal it for Arsenal. 14 minutes to play. It's Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0. A penalty given after a VAR review for a handball against Valery Bondar. And it will be Leandro Trossard who steps up to try and double Arsenal's lead. And it's saved by the goalkeeper. Riznik with the own goal in the first half, atoning for that incident. It wasn't a great penalty, straight down the middle, saved by the goalkeeper's legs, and it remains Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0.
Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0, but a penalty missed. Here's Lucami, the left-hand side of the penalty area. Arsenal fans, it would be very interesting to hear your reaction to that performance tonight, although it looks as though the result is going to go your way. The sports bar is the place for that. Here's Castro bringing it forward now for Bologna. Right-footed effort, deflects away off Barkley and goes out for another corner to Bologna. Arsenal leading 1-0, but what have you made of the performance and another injury? Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy will let you have your say on the sports bar tonight at the end of the game. 03717 22 33
Yeah, they could have done with that one going in, Jim, couldn't they, Arsenal? They really could have. Just having to work that extra bit harder for everything just at the moment.
Stoppage time equaliser for Northampton at Stockport, 1-1. Corner from the Bologna left is worked straight away back outside the penalty area. And it comes down for Ndoye. Curve ball inside the box from him. Looping header. Martinez comes out and claims. Fabian almost babbed himself around the post. He just managed to get his leg away in time. Then the ball is worked for very quickly through the midfield. And Philogene chasing after it. But Ndoye's covered a lot of ground very quickly to slide that back for his goalkeeper.
Yeah, had the ball from Yuri Tielemans just been at a couple of yards more on it. Dan Ndoye, who tracked back really well for Bologna. He wouldn't have stopped Jaden Philogene from getting on the end of it. So Villa now need to play this last little period of the game sensibly. They can just make sure that defensively they keep it absolutely tight. Hit on the counter, they've got pace in the wide areas, use it.
Boubacar Kamara is going to be coming on in a moment for Villa. Another player that hasn't featured for months. Because of a bad knee injury. Hasn't played since February, but he's going to be coming on. And you just hope from a sentimental point of view that there's still time to see Tyrone Mings tonight.
I think that really would be lovely. If Tyrone can just have 5 minutes at the back end, that are doing the world of good.
We've got 15 minutes to go. Villa leading 2-0. McGinn and Duran. Long-range effort is diffidently watched wide by Martinez. It was Lico Giannis that hit it from 30 yards, and Martinez almost literally waved it goodbye as it went past him. Full-time whistle has gone at Deepdale. Here's Mickey Gray.
Honours even here at Deepdale. Preston 2, Norwich 2. Preston take an early lead on the 5th minute through Sam Greenwood from the penalty spot. They doubled that lead on 12 minutes through Dwayne Holmes with a right foot fired shot inside the 18-yard area. Just before half-time, Norwich got themselves back into it through Borja Sainz with his 9th goal of the season. The equaliser coming from Shane Duffy on 61 minutes. Honours even here at Deepdale as Preston 2, Norwich 2.
Now another interesting change being made off the bench here for Bologna. Samuel Illing Jr. has come on, who is a Villa player. They paid £14 million for him from Juventus. Hasn't made an appearance. He was farmed back out on loan to Bologna, the England under-21 international. Scored on his debut at Como. And he's come on for his first taste of football here at Villa Park against his employer.
Which doesn't usually happen, does it? You never normally get permission to play against your parent club. But clearly in this case, they can. So we'll see what he's got in store for his teammates.
So Illing Jr. is on. He's replaced Ndoye. Straight swap on the left wing. Villa have made a change as well. And Yuri Tielemans is the player that has come off. And Boubacar Kamara is back on. He has played Champions League football before in his Marseille days back in the 2021 campaign. 4 years later, he's back involved in the top tier of European football again with the Villa. 2-0 they lead. 2 goals in a 9-minute spell either side of the hour mark. Rodgers making his way forward here, but just couldn't find a way past Freuler. Philogene trying to win it back. Liko Janis won it cleanly, pokes it down towards his own dead ball line, and then getting a return ball can clear it before it goes out of play for a throw. And then Fabian is fouled by Kamara, and it's going to be a free kick which will be taken on the left-hand side of the Bologna midfield.
Yeah, lots of changes now. Now, of course, that always sort of disrupts the flow of what you've been seeing. Villa having got that all-important second goal in a comfortable position, not so eager now and so quick, quite rightly, to go and press when Bologna have the ball. They're just happy to stay in a little bit more of a compact shape. Whenever they go out of possession, Villa, they've always got this 4-4-2 shape about them. In possession, it's very different. There's a lot more variation, of course, but when they lose the ball, it's basically Rodgers and Watkins now. Philogene off the right, Ramsey off the left with McGinn and Boubacar Kamara in the middle of the park.
It looks like a late winner for Charlton and Barnsley through Luke Berry in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. They've come from behind there and lead 2-1. Crawley 3, Lincoln 0. They needed that after a tricky recent run and a loss of the manager, but Rob Elliott's men leading 3-0. The ball over on the right-hand side with Berkema, who goes back for Freuler. Freuler will drive it down towards Illing Jr. First chance for the Villa fans to see what he can do. He's elected not to try and take Concert on. They just played it back instead in his spotless white boots. Long ball driven forward by the centre-half, Lukami. And a free kick has been won by Villa just outside their own penalty area. They're almost playing 3 centre-halves now and trying to get the full-backs pushed forward as much as possible. Freuler will drop deep in between the 2 Bologna centre-halves, but still they're not really creating, without wishing to tempt fate, too many clear-cut openings, although the fans clearly still enjoying the night out.
Yeah.
They're over on the far touchline, the scarves above their heads at the moment as Castro, for the visitors, tries to make his way forward. Barkley initially smuggled it away, then lost out. Morrow can play it forward, he's given it away. Villa might be able to break quickly. All of a sudden it's 5-on-4 and they work it wide for Ramsey, coming in off the left hand side. He's inside the penalty area, he's got plenty to try and hit. Rodgers is in there at the near post, pulled back instead for Barkley, edge of the penalty area. Rodgers with a shot on the turn, it's blocked, it hit Morrow, and then Skorupski will be able to clear from the edge of his 6-yard box, only as far as Diego Carlos. He heads it down. Torres, it's a lovely touch. He just took it on, glanced it past the on-rushing Odegaard to get Villa going again, and Kamara will play it forward. Rodgers trying to turn it around the corner towards Ollie Watkins. Next phase of play, Watkins knew he was in an offside position, hands above his head, making sure no one played it in towards him. It's cleared, and then Castro is fouled by the retreating Diego Carlos, and it's a free kick in the centre circle that goes Bologna's way. But 2-0 to the Villa.
Yep, 2-0 to the Villa, and as long as they focus and concentrate. I mean, shots from distance, you're hoping that a goalkeeper with Emi Martinez's class will be able to deal with those. But as long as those central defenders make sure that they keep their focus, they keep communicating to Ross Barkley and Kamara now in front of them, they should be able to get this one done with another clean sheet, Jim.
Now, there have been a fair few of those this season, but 3 out of 3 in the Champions League if they don't concede a goal in the last 15 minutes tonight. You're listening to Villa Bologna in the Champions League, and it's live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Bologna playing out from the back in their left-back position for a moment. There's a lovely step over from Milling Jr., who then plays the ball through the midfield. Brought down by Castro. Castro's ball forward. It just ricocheted straight off Pau Torres. He's giving him no room whatsoever coming forward and putting the block in. I said that Charlton had got what looked like a late winner in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Max Waters has equalised for Barnsley in the 5th minute of stoppage time. 2-2 there. Birmingham have won tonight. They've been Bolton by 2 goals to at the top of League One. Wins as well. 1-0 victories, both Bristol Rovers and Grimsby. Adrian will have all of the full-time scores at the end of this game. And a reminder, we've got more live European football coming your way tomorrow. 3 live games. Atalanta Celtic, followed by Manchester City Sparta Prague on Talksport 2. And Liverpool go to Leipzig on Talksport at 8 o'clock. Then Thursday, we're with Chelsea, Manchester United and Spurs in their respective European games. The ball is played inside the penalty area here and headed away by Diego Carlos. Friday morning, we'll have all of the fallout from that United game away to Fenerbahce with Sam Matterface and Alex Krug live in Istanbul as they sit in for White and Jordan from 10 o'clock Friday morning. A big game in Istanbul Thursday night with Mourinho up against Ten Hag.
Yeah, that will be an interesting night.
Now that Barnsley-Charlton game has finished 2-2. As I say, all the results to come at the end of this game. Not a lot happening in terms of clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity at the moment. A sense, really, that Bologna have accepted their fate. They just don't want any further damage. And
a little, yes.
Villa looking ahead now.
Yeah, a little. And as I said, Villa aren't squeezing the ball. So when Bologna have it with the goalie or the centre-halves in their own box, it's just gentle pressure now. Villa happy to drop off back 4 instead of holding the line and now dropping away. Quite right, that's a great ball.
And Ealing Jr. has chested it down and it'll take it inside the penalty area and pinged in a ball looking for Castro. And it was really well blocked with a sliding challenge inside the 6-yard box to put it out of play for a corner. It's fine defending by Carlos, but Ealing Jr. looks the part.
He does, and at what cost? Because Diego Carlos, I'm not sure in defending that, fell a little bit awkward and immediately put his hand up in the air. He felt something. Not sure exactly what that was. Hopefully he's okay, but lovely play from Milling Jr. You're right. Lovely diagonal pass over the top of the defender. He was onto it first and fires a dangerous ball across the edge of the 6-yard box.
So a corner that Liko Giannis is going to take. In towards the near post. Oh, the flick comes off the junction of post and bar. Little near post flick header. Berkhammer punches the ground in frustration. So furious that he hasn't thrown Bologna a lifeline there with their first ever Champions League goal.
Unlucky. They just got caught napping there, Villa. Again, a flat, short ball into the near post. Lovely run from Berkhammer. Ollie Watkins, I think he was the front man there. He's got to be aware of anyone running in and around him from behind him. Got to make sure he deals with that first. Very unlucky there were Bologna there to see that ball come back off the post.
Another corner taken short by Liko Giannis, finding Morrow. Right-footed ball swept inside the penalty area, too steep for those coming in at the far post. It was Fabian that was chasing it. Couldn't get the touch and it goes out of play for a goal kick. Full-time whistles blown at Cardiff. Ian Danta.
Cardiff City 2, Portsmouth 0. So the Bluebirds climb out the relegation zone and dump Pompey at the foot of the table. Dominated proceedings here. The hosts in front on 6 minutes. Regan Poole turning the ball into his own net from an NG cross. 2-0 on 12 minutes, but a corner sent in from the right, and Callum Robinson, right on the line, lifted the ball into the net off the underside of the crossbar above him. Could and should have been more. El Ghazi wasted a great one-on-one chance. Pompey rarely threatened and suffered a few injuries just to add to their woes. Full-time, Cardiff 2, Portsmouth 0.
Juventus against Stuttgart is 0-0. Stuttgart had the ball in the net early in the second half. It was disallowed. Danilo's just been sent off for Juventus, and Mio has missed the resulting penalty, so that was still 0-0. That Real Madrid game, they've just scored twice in a minute and lead now 4-2 against Dortmund, having been 2-0 down at half-time. But I'm not paying you twice if they beat them by 2.
Do you know, I just thought, Jim, I looked at you for a split second and I just saw your shoulders just sag just a little bit, and I thought they might have scored.
No, that's the weight of my chins makes my shoulders sag. Don't worry about that. Not the first bet I've ever lost.
They're unreal, aren't they?
Lucas and Vinicius, who have scored goals 3 and 4 there. Villa have it back in the midfield with Philogene. Clever little step over. It's full time at Ellen Road. Leeds are 1. We'll get the details very shortly. But Villa on the front foot here with Ramsey. And the local lad, just too much on the ball for there for Philogene, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. So Dave Rowe can fill us in on Leeds' latest win.
Leeds 2, Watford 1. Leeds holding on for a 4th win in 6 unbeaten. They were given a head start by 2 goalkeeping errors in the first 7 minutes. Blackman was at fault. He fumbled Ramazani's shot over the line, then he compounded it by pushing a Nonto cross into the path of Aronson, who made it 2. Watford played well after the break and got one back early for a Quadro bar, and Tom Ince forced a save from Melier from a free kick. Leeds, though, missed several chances to extend their lead with saves from Backman and also shots off target. In the end, the 2 goals were enough. Leeds 2, Watford 1.
That's how things stand at the moment. Now Leeds just behind Sunderland. They've got identical records, 22 points, scored 19, conceded 8. And the ball here safely from a Villa perspective in the hands of Emi Martinez. Don't forget the sports bar coming up, 03717 223344. We want your reaction not just to the European games tonight, but also to all of the domestic results as well. Martinez will kick the ball forward from inside his own penalty area, 90 seconds to go. And he's got it 70 yards upfield for Watkins, who does well to win a throw. The throw taken quickly up the Villa left by Maatsen. Maatsen into Ramsey. Then it becomes a 50-50 outside the penalty area. Odgaard gets that away and then gives it away. It's out for another throw that'll be taken on the Villa left.
Yeah, this one's gone pretty much, I think, as Unai Emery would have thought about last night when he was preparing for this one. He'd have thought that against a team that have drawn a lot of matches, that are looking a little short in the final third and down on goals this season, that if his team can start well and maybe score first. And it wasn't all plain sailing for Villa in the first half, particularly that first 10 or 15 minutes. But Bologna have never really had a spell in the game, a consistent spell where they look like Villa are perhaps rocking a little bit and just buckling under the pressure. That's not really happened. They've had a couple of situations, but nothing more than that. I think once Villa got their first goal, it was always a question of could they add to their tally, and they have, and it's all now pretty routine and comfortable.
Well, they really have adapted to life in Champions League football so easily. I know that they will be stiff at tests to come. They're playing today against a Bologna side whose only European Cup campaign was 60 years ago, when they're actually eliminated on a coin toss, which would have hurt at the time. But if they'd known that they wouldn't be back in the Champions League or the top competition in European football for 6 decades, it might have hurt that little bit more. The ball knocked forward up the Villa left-hand side. Ramsey's going to be able to bring it forward. And it run towards the edge of the penalty area here. Still he's got it. Slips into his left-hand side. Maatsen drives it in. Goalkeeper palms it away. Philogene can't quite get there in time. Berkhammer clears. And Villa can't find goal number 3.
Yeah, great run that was from Ramsey. And Ian Maatsen to run round him. Kept going to go beyond him. Ramsey just puts him in, fires it across the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper Skorupski does well to get his hand onto it. Just no claret and blue shirt rushing in to just maybe poke it into an unguarded net.
Now we're in 3 minutes of added time. They're in 6 minutes of added time at Arsenal, and they played 3.5 of those. Still Arsenal leading 1-0. Trossard, remember, with a penalty saved. Here Villa leading 2-0 through McGinn and Duran. Hilling Jr. looking to ping one out towards Odgaard. Maatsen, who's done really well, only his second Villa start tonight. He started that game at Wickham, and starting again this evening, and has slotted in very ably to replace Luca Digne.
I think he's played very well here, Maatsen. There's a lot of good Villa performances. Morgan Rogers has been exceptional. Pau Torres is a class act. I think he's rarely makes mistakes on the ball. I think they've all really played at a good rate of knots. Lovely tempo to Villa's play in that first half. It was good to watch. Again, one or two moments where they were just caught napping a little first quarter of an hour, but another very, very impressive night's work.
Stuttgart missed that penalty but have scored. El Bilal Touré surely winning it in the 4th minute of stoppage time against the 10 men of Juventus, unbeaten all season. Juve. That's only the 4th goal they've conceded all told in 11 games, and they're a goal down at home to Stuttgart in stoppage time. Villa leading 2-0. The Olays are out. And here comes Ross Barkley making his way forward. He's gone 40 yards, he's gone 50 yards, and he's tripped on the edge of the area. Well, the referee didn't see it like that. He said that he just ran out of puff and went to ground of his own volition. Fabian then tries to bring it forward on a marauding run going the other way.
Looked like a foul on Ross Barkley. Lovely run. Went past 2 or 3 Bologna players, got right to the edge of the box where he was just about to pull the trigger and was sent to the floor. Looked like a foul. Referee immediately said, nope, not happy with that, and let Wade play on.
Diego Carlos back to his goalkeeper. Martinez calmly rolling it forward for Kamara. Girona 2, Slavan Bratislava 0, a full-time score in the Champions League. First points for them. Rodgers. Out to Ramsey. Still time for a third for Villa here. Ramsey driving inside the area. Couldn't slot it past the goalkeeper. He hit him with it, really, with a right-footed drive. It's the last action of the game. Listen, these are early days, but Aston Villa are top of the Champions League table. Played 3, won 3, 3 clean sheets. And tonight they've done it with goals from McGinn with an element of fortune, and almost inevitably with the form he's in, from John Duran. Job well done. Unai Emery can even rest a few ahead of a busy programme coming up. But Villa Park is rocking again, and having seen off Bayern Munich, they've now seen off Bologna. Villa 2, Bologna 0.
So it's just gone here at the Emirates as well. Arsenal have won 1-0, but I tell you what, it was close. There was a chance right at the end for Shakhtar. We'll round it up in a moment. Arsenal have got the win, but Andy Townsend, how does that sound? Aston Villa, top of the Champions League.
Yeah, and they deserved their win tonight, Aid. And you know what? Tonight they played, I think, as I mentioned, with good tempo and good intent. Once they got in front, then they played sensibly in terms of keeping the ball, made some changes, as the manager would do with all his experience, as you can imagine, and got the job done and were quite comfortable, really. The first 15 minutes, they offered Bologna a couple of unnecessary opportunities. They didn't take them. Once Villa got in front, Aid, it was pretty much just a question of could they get any more. They got 2, could have had 4, really, but in the end, a very comfortable night's work, an emphatic win.
Let's talk about the 2 goals. John McGinn, he'll say he meant it. He'll say the set-piece coach will say, yeah, we've been working on that one.
Yeah, well, look, the key for John McGinn there, left footer off the right side. If you make sure that ball stays inside the width of the post, far post, then if those guys trying to get a flick on it don't make contact, it's got a chance. That's exactly what happened. He had a good fly on the ball. Goalkeeper's in the middle of the goal, rooted to the spot, can't go anywhere, can't gamble, because if there's a touch towards the near post, he's got to save it. And it missed everybody. One bounce, ended up in the top corner at the far post.
I can tell you Vinicius Junior's got a hat-trick. Real Madrid 5-2, so make sure Jim hasn't left yet. You can pick up your winnings, Andy, okay?
Honestly, Aid. But hey, look, do you know why I said it? Because we've been there, we've been in that stadium, and we've witnessed ridiculous things that happen in that stadium.
Man City were through, and somehow they weren't.
Exactly. So Dortmund at 2 up would have thought, wow, this is looking pretty good. And then within 5 minutes, and I've just been past something very special from Mr. Proudfoot. I've got to tell you, it's just in front of me here on my team sheet. A little Ayrton Senna.
Rare moment when he pays up. Incredible. The second goal for Aston Villa. John Duran. I think this is a lovely goal. This is when you see it first time, you think, oh, that's nice, and then when you watch exactly what happens, it's a lovely ball in Rodgers, and the finish from Duran is class, isn't it?
Yes, it is a really good finish from John Duran. Again, lovely variation in their play. Diego Carlos on the halfway line, could have played short, turned Bologna around. Morgan Rodgers with all that running power, ran in behind, picked the ball up. Just saw John Duran, he was behind the defender, just saw John Duran almost make eye contact with him and say, go on, knock that into an area where I can go and attack it. He does that. Duran makes that all-important first contact and clips it into the far post for that all-important second goal. And right in front of us, Aid, you can see John Duran getting his Player of the Match award.
Well, thoroughly deserved. I thought he played really well. A lot of Villa players played really well. Listen, they are top of the Champions League. I know there's a round of games tomorrow night as well, and they may get knocked off, but there's 3 wins out of 3. They're looking good to get through in the top 8, so they won't even have to have a playoff. I mean, how far can they go in this Champions League?
Well, look, I think first things first, there's some tough games to come, some really exciting games to come for them, but I think everything that Villa are doing at the moment, they're doing it right. I think they are making sure they focus on the Premier League, the all-important stuff. But when these games come round, they are managing the emotions and they're managing the occasion. They're certainly good enough to beat the opposition that I've seen so far, including Bayern Munich. They deserve that one. And tonight they had a bit too much all round, really, for a hard-working Bologna team, a spirited team, but ultimately one that lacks any real threat. And what happens in this competition, Aid, as you and I well know, once you get out of these group phases, and it's very different this year, then you get those opportunities, those chances. They have to go in the back of the net. Look at Dortmund tonight, 2 up at the Bernabeu, the biggest of the lot, thinking that they've got half the job done, end up getting tonked 5-2. So that's what can happen against the very best in the Champions League. But Villa can score goals. Villa can create chances. And if you're a team that can do that, you've got a chance in this competition.
Mate, I've just seen Vinicius Junior's hat-trick goal. Oh. The Dortmund defence have all gone off on stretchers with dizziness.
Oh, I can imagine.
Fella's he's incredible. Yeah. 5-2, that has finished. I'll run down all the full times for you very shortly. Andy, you have a little think about man of the match. We'll come back to you in a second. Okay. Let's round up what happened here at the Emirates tonight. Alongside me, Alex Crook.
It finished Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0. The Gunners back to winning ways, but my word, did they make heavy weather of it in the end. They took the lead on 29 minutes. Gabriel Martinelli picking up the ball down the left-hand side, cuts in on his right foot. The shot was deflected onto a post, and it rebounds off the post, hits the goalkeeper for Shakhtar, Dmitro Riznik, on the backside, and ends up in the back of the net for an own goal. Leandro Trossard should have wrapped up the victory 13 minutes from time after Valery Bondar was penalised for handball. Trossard stepped up, he put his penalty straight down the middle. It was a poor effort, saved by the legs of Riznik to partly make amends for that first half own goal. And Shakhtar had a couple of really good opportunities late on. Pedrino forced a fine save from David Raya with a shot from a long way outside the penalty area. It was awkward for the Arsenal goalkeeper. And then Marlon Gomez right at the end. I'm not sure how he's not scored. Cross to the right-hand side, unmarked on the edge of the 6-yard box. He makes a mess of the header. It bounces off his shoulder and tamely into the arms of Raya. So a let-off for Arsenal. 7 points from 9 for them in the Champions League. But this victory did come at a cost. Ben White failing to re-emerge after half-time. That could have been because he picked up a yellow in the first half. But Riccardo Calafiori was then forced to hobble off with what looked like a knee injury, and he will be a doubt surely for the big Premier League showdown against Liverpool here on Sunday. It finishes Arsenal 1, Shakhtar 0.
Well, Arsenal do get the win. They go into the top 8 of the Champions League, this league stage in the new format. There's one outstanding full-time in the Championship as well. Finished at Loftus Road. Ian Abrahams.
Queen's Park Rangers 1, Coventry 1, so QPR off the bottom. Coventry drop into the bottom 3 though after this draw, which does neither really any favours. Sky Blues ahead 4 minutes in. Hadji Wright finishing off after QPR failed to clear their lines, but then just after the hour mark, substitute Kieran Morgan on loan from the Spurs volleyed in beautifully from 15 15 yards out. Probably the first of many goals he'll score at senior level. It was his first for Queen's Park Rangers, and enough in the end to earn them a point. They thought they should have had a second half penalty. QPR unlucky maybe not to win it in the end, but it finished here in front of 14,000. QPR 1, Coventry 1.
I'm going to run down all the full times for you very, very shortly. And don't forget to get your calls in for the sports bar, whether it's Championship, EFL, Champions League, you want to talk about 03717 223344. But time now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Well, the former Villa captain Andy Townsend is still at Villa Park, where Aston Villa have beaten Bologna 2-0 to go top of the Champions League. McGinn with the first, John Duran with the second. But who, Andy Townsend, is your man of the match?
Well, look, some very accomplished performances tonight. As I mentioned, Yuri Tielemans did well. Morgan Rogers was great. Pau Torres was very cool and composed at the back. I'm going to go for Ian Matsonade. In tonight for Luca Digna, never stopped charging up and down that left side from first minute to last, and was always there, always available, produced some really good crosses, some lovely link-up play, particularly in the first half. And for one of the younger players, I know that they spent a lot of money on him, but for one of the younger boys to come in and look like he wants to grab that shirt and hang on to it, I thought he did all of that.
Andy, really enjoyed your commentary tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Aid.
And he's gone home richer as well. That was our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.